Oh, I forgot to put my little light on. My stupid little light. Hi, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Okay. Hey, welcome to the show. Yeah. Let's see. What is that? Fargo. So that's what North Dakota. Is that what a North Dakota accent sounds like? I don't even know. Hey, welcome to the show, eh? That sounds Canadian. I mean, I'm probably not. Probably not to Canadians. Probably not to the Canadians in the audience, which there are some. Good morning, easily distracted. I get easily distracted when you're around. Hi, Neil. Neil, God, where have you been? Where have you been? Neil, where have you been? No, I'm just kidding. Good morning, Scott. How are you, darling? Good to see you. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. Oh my God, it's Thursday. Schlump. Intel CEO. What the hell did the Intel CEO do now? Oh, is the chip thing? Is this the chip thing? Yeah, fuck Intel. Trump calls on highly conflicted Intel CEO to resign over ton of chives. Ton of chives. I'm trying to Chinatize myself. I had a bunch of stuff to do yesterday, so I took the day off. Okay, fine. It's not like anybody missed you or anything. But I'm gonna say that, we did. Hi, Lee. Hello, darling. It's Thursday. I know. Oh, boy, girl, I bet you need the weekend right now. I bet you. I bet you need the weekend something fierce right now. Good morning, my darling badger. My dear, dear friend. How are you? And Max. Good morning, dear Max. Schlump. You thought no one noticed? No, actually, Neil, I'm being serious. We had an entire conversation about where you were. So, yeah, people noticed. It wasn't just me. People noticed. So there you go. How about that? Isn't it nice to be missed? I think that's a great thing. And people should know when they're missed, I think, frankly. Because otherwise, where does that all go? I'm not feeling confident about the economic future of the US. I don't mean to laugh at that, Lee, because I know you're being dead serious. I don't know what to say, Lee. I really don't, because it is just you are. I mean, you're closer to it than anyone I know. So you get to see and kind of you're aware of some of these things far more than I am or anyone, really anyone that I know. Uh, wow. Thank you. All is well. I also did a 30-kilometer bike ride, so now I am too tired to move. Okay, well, there you go. Well, there we go. We have you. Hey, butterflies. How are you? Good morning. Yeah, the US dollar in particular. Yeah, Scott, so I'm terrible about monetary policy. Let me be honest with you. I cannot that's one of those things. Like when I was had my broker's license, my retail stockbroker license, I guess, to put it however you put that. When I had my retail stockbroker license, one of the things that always got me, one of the things that always got me was fixed income. I'm not good on like inverse relationships. You know, the price of bonds goes down, the yield goes up, or whatever that the inversion of. So I can't. I have a really hard time like conceptualizing some concepts like that. I don't know how to describe it, obviously, but and the same thing with monetary policy. I don't really understand how currencies. I mean, I understand how currencies work. I shouldn't say that, but I don't understand the implications of a weak dollar, strong dollar. I'm not as well versed on that because I didn't do any of that in college. Of course, I just drank in college, so really I didn't do much of anything. But There is nothing to say. It's out of control, and I'm not sure what can stop the downward spiral. See, that's the thing. Huh. That's the thing. We've had football up here for 2 months. Oh, what? And Trump continues to lie. Yes, he does. Yeah, and he's not really, again, a deep topic. No, it really, well, I mean, it's almost like I know what I don't know about economy, the economy and the global economy. Like there's a lot I don't know. So I I respect the fact that there's a whole knowledge base around that you can't just assume things from what might seemingly be, um, might seemingly be a cause and effect, right? I'm not as good on those things as I wish I was, frankly, because I like math, I like numbers, I like data, obviously. So I'm it's unfortunate that I never really just really knuckled down and picked up all those concepts. Destroy the economy, stocks on the dollar. That's what I think. That's what I think, Max. Um, because otherwise, I think you'd have some intervention. Okay, that's the bottom line. Is I think if this direction was not a desirable direction for the people who funded this administration, then they would step in. You know. And I was looking at the forecast for tariff revenue over the next 10 years. I posted about it in Blue Sky, I think, a few days ago. But I was looking at the tariff revenue because one of the things that it strikes me is that if you have a plan where tariff revenue becomes a primary revenue source for the country, um, if you have wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, if you have tariff revenue, shouldn't you base that? I mean, how would you forecast that based on you don't know what's going to happen to imports and demand and supply? Because I can't imagine a world where because of the tariff scheme, countries don't export as much to us anymore. I know I'm saying this very simply, so just bear with me for a minute. It's really to get it straight in my fucking head. I just need to get this straight in my head. So when I was looking at it, and in fact, I'll pull it up. I hope. I hope I will. Terrible tariff. Oh yeah, simulator. That's what I did. I found a simulator from Penn Wharton, and yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay, so yeah, from the Wharton School of Business, which happens to be the alma mater of Dumpy McDumperson, Dumpy McShitz's pants. Okay, wait. I need to keep up with this because investment in Europe is a safe bet. I would imagine. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. Investment in Europe. Hi, butterflies. Hi, butterflies. All I know is that a weak U.S. dollar is better for U.S. exports because it bought. Wait, a weak U.S. dollar, but if other countries don't want to buy, yeah, exactly. Neil, we're trying to keep our people informed and plug holes where we can. We're passing tariffs on to our customers in most cases. Watch the job cuts and production cuts in industry. So here's the thing. Okay, stay with me for a minute. Stay with me for a minute. So inevitably, hi Carla. Good morning. Inevitably, in my well, not inevitably. That's a terrible word. That's a very strong and specific word. Let me rephrase that. If okay, well, wait. Let me show you this tariff revenue first. Hold on. And I don't totally understand what I'm looking at. So I offer this as much for the facts of the matter as I do that I know what the hell I'm talking about. Because again, on this show, welcome to Wake and Bake, by the way, with Lolo. I'm Lolo, and you are here. And we're talking about tariffs. My brother is in retail and he got letters from all his vendors this week raising prices. Yes, let us learn together. That's it, Scott. That should be the theme of the show. Let us learn together. Together. I didn't know why I said it that way. But okay. So stay with me here. So if tariff revenue is supposed to be one way we fund our country, I don't even know what government means anymore, so I'll just say country. I can see a world where if tariffs are at the levels that they are, that we experience in this country less imports because countries it's not economically feasible for countries to export to our country, okay? So that means lower supply here along with I would imagine higher prices for the products that are imported, you know, kind of varying degrees of higher prices, right? Some may not be so high, others will be high, blah blah blah. But by the way, the phenomenon also is that non-tariff items also go up in price because that's the way fucked up capitalism works, people. Is when prices go up in one sector, it's pretty easy to raise prices across the board. Okay, can we can I get an amen? So if you've got less imports coming in, now granted you have a higher tariff rate, but doesn't that mean that the tariff revenue would at best stay the same as it has been, even if you have a lower number of imports but a higher price for the import, right? Or in a real world, I don't know if the math has been done to make those two things together, but in the real world, if you have less imports, less tariff revenue coming in, aren't we in a worse position than we were before? Plus, we don't have Swiss chocolate. Am I right? So, I'm going to keep asking this fucking question. What is the end goal? If it's to onshore manufacturing, that's not true because the raw materials and other things needed for manufacturing are now tariffed. Okay? So that's one thing. So profit margins are lessened. Okay? And if you then, for the items that are here and the American made items, which will go up in price to compete or will be able to go up in price to compete with imports, right? Because they can raise their prices just under the import or something, like whatever the strategy is. That still results net in us paying higher prices while maybe just in the interim, they're onshoring all the manufacturing so that the jobs you lose, I think they're proposing, you will then gain them when these big factories open up. I think that's the mindset. I don't know. Complete destruction of the U.S. economy is the goal. Look at the gap in revenue generated by tariffs and revenue generated by income tax. Tariffs can't cover the nut. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know what? I haven't even gotten into the chips issue, Max. I haven't even wrapped my brain around the chips because I know there's a lot of news right now about chips. And that's probably where the Intel, the Intel fight comes from. We'll read that story. Thanks, Max, for sharing that. Mercury is in retrograde. I think I got my phone issues sorted. Two companies were fighting over the number. Oh my God, that's terrible, Jane. That's crazy. So yeah, I don't see how this works for anyone. I know who it works for. Oh, Jay Rance. I'm going to one of my favorite people. You have beautiful threads on Gal's work around Joel Greenberg, which I almost want to do a whole show around Gal's work on Joel Greenberg. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a show that just goes over the Joel Greenberg release of information. Hopefully I can get Gal on the show. I'll work with her to see if I can do it. But I'd love to get Gal on the show and actually have I'll interview her on the Greenberg stuff. So I'll reach out to Gal and see when she could do that, and then we'll do that. We could do a fucked up Florida Friday. I want to make sure. I want to check in with Lee though, because I know her time's also limited. Both Gal and her are like super busy. So I just want to make sure I offer up time to both of those ladies where we can get them on the show at any time. Because literally this is a great time to do it too. We don't have a lot of like hearings and shit to listen to. So it actually would be really good to have a show with Lee where we talk about all this crap, which we tried to do last week, but dental work. And then do a show with Gal too. Okay, I'm gonna try and make those happen. And Lee, you just need to let me know. Literally, it doesn't even have to be a Friday. Lee, you can let me know any fucking time that you want to do a show about tariffs, because I know your schedule is insane. So let's not worry. I don't want you to. I mean, there's no pressure on you, my love. But I'm telling you, Lee, I really want to make sure we get. I would just love to have you as a guest and talk about what's going on. I'm a big downer at the moment. I'm so pissed. I know, babe. Oh, I can feel it, right? I can sense it, because you have always been like very positive, very measured, very calm, and you're all those things. I'm not saying you're not, but I can tell in your language that there is just a deep exhaustion with trying uh to face the moment, with all of the changes that are making. So I just, my heart is with you. I hope you know that, because I really do know. I remember what it was like to be in corporate, and when things were going crazy. Now, I never was in a situation where things were going this crazy in my industry. So there's that. But that's why I can only imagine the nightmare that is your professional life right now. So yeah, and to really be responsible for bottom lines, and trying to make good strategic decisions in the face of kind of complete lunacy. Just complete fucking lunacy. I know, Scott, it is exhausting. I hear you. Oh my God, it's just so fucking weird. Imported foods, as soon as I sent the query, yeah, imported foods is a good one. And this is the first day, Lee, of the effect of the latest tariff regime, if you will, the tariff scheme. Well, so let me show you what I was looking at. And again, I don't really know what I'm looking at all the time. We know that, right? Like, we have appropriate expectations of my knowledge base, right? Right, right, right. Nobody's expecting like really good stuff, right? Right. Okay, well, let me show you what I found, because this was interesting. All right, this is the Penn Wharton School, remember? I have to give them all my personal information because, Penn Wharton. Oh, man, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. Um, yeah, you underestimate your knowledge base. Oh, Jane, thanks. Thanks for airing The Apprentice. I thought Sebastian Stan delivered. I'm going to tell you right now, in the beginning, so we watched The Apprentice, the movie about Donald Trump that came out last year on Discord last night. And thank you guys for coming. I thought it was a very interesting movie. And it was, yeah, that's who played Clump. And he actually, like in the beginning, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to suspend disbelief and think that this is Trump. But by the end, 100%, that guy had me. He literally had like the lisp, he had the language, he had the facial expressions, he had all the stuff. Yeah, he was really nailing the performance. And of course, Jeremy Strong, who's a great actor from Succession, played Roy Cohn, and I thought, of course, Roy Cohn seems like an easy part to play. I'm sure it's not easy, but I think the Roy Cohn impersonation was fucking spot on, spot on. He did well. I was worried he was too good. Maybe he'll get shunned for. I know. I was kind of wondering, like, can he transform himself that so that he doesn't get stuck in stupid roles? I know the cinematography was good, like handheld camera, good, good lighting, good writing too, pretty good dialogue. I thought the writing was pretty good because those movies can be really stupid, right? Those little biopics, they can be super stupid. But I do recommend it. It's interesting, especially if you don't really know the interaction between Roger Stone, Roy Cohn, and Donald Trump. If you're not really well versed in that relationship, that triad, this movie can help explain kind of where everybody, you know, comes from. So I think that actually would be really an important watch for people who don't know the Roger Stone Roy Cohn connection. Yeah, I'm sure he had Roy Cohn on a hidden camera. Are you kidding me? I'm sure there were cameras everywhere. I have no doubt in my mind. It really showed me too that uh, let's see, what was it? Uh I'm not sure if the well, they kind of wimped out at the end, but I won't spoil it. I guess. I mean, it's real life, but they kind of, they made the characters a little sympathetic at the end, and that to me was like, oh, come on, give me a break. So it could have been a little more Scorsese in that regard. It could have been a little more let the characters speak for themselves. But they did do a little bit of like, soft soaping of characterizations, but whatever. I know I can't believe how many of us watched it twice because I played it twice because people were, unable to join the earlier showing, so I just ran it again for people who came in late. So we watched it. Yeah, they all came. Yeah, they still came off as total assholes. Don't get me wrong, but there was a little bit of like, oh, kind of at the end. And I'm like, ugh, please give me a break. Um, but I think it was good to show just how important Roy Cohn was to what we see today. And I think that can't be underestimated. Roy Cohn was really an architect of dirty politics, starting back from the Rosenbergs, where he actually was the lawyer convicting the Rosenbergs and to death, and all the political fanfare around that trial. So that I thought was very, very, that's a very important story point, I think, in this whole thing. Granted, there's so many story points, right? We've got the Christian nationalists, we've got all these things, all these interests somehow carried. I think that's the wrap yourself in a flag thing, though, Jane. I think a lot of them do that, trying to convince themselves that they're doing this for some real greater good. I really do believe that sometimes they tell themselves that stuff at night, you know? So, yeah, only for its usefulness, yeah. So it was a very interesting movie. I do recommend. It's called The Apprentice. It's on what did I get it? Oh, I rented it on Prime Video. I'm sure it's somewhere else, but it's a little new, so it's not out in like YouTube or anything. But yeah, it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Lee says yes. The reciprocal tariffs kick in today. I think Brazil kicks in next week. It's really jacked up. And then, but there is some delay on some tariffs, right? Like India. No, I can't recall. I think there's some tariff delay, but we'll get into that when we are able to. I'll gather some more information and we'll get into where we're at. I'm keeping an eye on the consumer price index too. 'Cause I'm just because Trump lied yesterday when he's like, prices are down. Prices are down, damn it. No, they're not. No, they're actually not. That's a lie. No, that's a lie. Yep. Womp womp. Okay, but anyway, back to tariff revenue. So I just wanted to, yeah, finish him. I don't know. I don't see. The thing is, here's the thing. It just bothers me so much. The thing that bothers me so fucking much is nobody is stopping them. So that to me means that this chaos works for the supposed smart people in the room. And the question that I think journalists should be asking is, how does this benefit you, donor class? Tell us why you're not stopping him. Oh no, stop. Oh my gosh. You're silly. That's silly. I'm sending that back to you. That's silly. But you know what else I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to dance for Jay France. Thank you, Jay Rand. You're so silly. You're so silly. Yes, give me a few more days to get it all straight. I think India's on a 21-day delay. Right. China's getting delayed another 90 days. That's right. That was the other one I was thinking of. EU pauses their tariffs for 90 days. Holy shit. Holy shit. Tim Apple. That's right. Called him Tim Apple. I forgot about that. Thank you, Jane, for that reminder. Thank you, Jay Rants. You're so sweet. You're too sweet. That's too sweet. That's too generous. I want you to spend your money on yourself, dear. As an ex-newspaper man, it's disappointing to see. Yeah. Absolutely. Lee, you have all the time in the world, girl. You're always welcome on my show. I don't care what I'm doing. I'll drop everything. So you don't worry. We'll do our Friday when you want to do the Friday or whatever day of the week it is, frankly. Or the weekend. Of course, I don't want to take people's weekend, but we can also do something on the weekend, girl. Okay? I'm at your service for this one. Yeah, Tim Apple wussed out and kissed ass. Oh, and I guess I was wrong. There wasn't another 500 billion. It was 100 billion onto 500 billion from February over 4 years. So if that's 600 billion over 4 years, that's 150 billion a year. That doesn't actually seem like that much. I could be wrong. But that doesn't seem like that much of an investment. So I think Tim is phoning it in. TBH. But I could be wrong. So when I looked at the tariff, going back to my original point, when I looked at the tariff revenue, because I said, gosh, how is this going to help our country get rich? Supposedly, this starting with the supposition that this tariff scheme makes this country rich. Tell me more. 100 billion, 500 billion, potato, 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 potato. So I don't understand all of this, but this is combined. Okay, so this, let me tell you what this is. I'm so sorry. So this is the Penn Wharton budget model, tariff simulator, revenue and prices. Okay. Oh, they have a real-time budget track. Oh, wow. This is exciting. I didn't even see that. Okay, let me just actually read this because then you'll get an idea of why I was looking at this. And maybe something in here will make you understand it much more than me. Apple's building a facility in Kentucky, different skill set from bourbon production, but whatever. Yeah, but Canadians aren't buying the bourbon, so, you know, womp womp. The simulator below allows users to explore tens of thousands of different tariff scenarios across various countries, regions, and product sets to create a specific tariff scenario, blah, blah, select custom, blah, 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 blah. Alternatively, choose from existing policy scenario pre-computed by PWBM, I don't know. Oh, Penn Wharton Business something. machine. Pre-computed scenarios model currently enacted long-term tariff policies, temporary suspensions, short-term pauses, for example, 90-day pauses for reciprocal tariffs, and speculative changes are excluded. All revenue impacts are projected over a 10-year horizon beginning in 2026. PWBM estimates that the combined Trump tariffs will generate $3 trillion in revenue over 10 years. 10 years. Using recent time varying demand elasticity estimates. This corresponds to a reduction in imports by over 30%. Or 78 trillion, or 7.8 trillion, excuse me, due to higher prices on imported goods paid by U.S. consumers and firms. If baseline import demand in the U.S. across all goods and services further stagnates over the next decade due to lower economic growth, total new tariff revenue will decrease to 2.6. That doesn't seem like a very big decrease for a 30% drop. That's not 30% of 3 trillion. Okay, whatever. I guess that's not apples to apples. 2.6 trillion. These values are lower than revenue estimates previously provided by officials in the Trump administration. The effective tariff rate rises significantly under these scenarios. Before accounting for substitution, the average effective rate is approximately 20.4%, reflecting higher statutory duties on the original import base. After substitution, the effective rate decreases to roughly 15.5% because of lower demand for products with higher tariffs. Scroll down and find our projected tariff rates across. Okay, blah 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 blah. So this you can do anything with this motherfucker. You can do it by country, by type of tariff, by all this or whatever custom. You can do a lot of stuff. But just taking it at its face value, this is why I was like, is it really? So how? Okay, so this is 10 years, right? Oh, sorry, this is so small. Let me see if I can make it bigger. I don't know if this will work, but we'll see. Okay. Well, this is helpful. Okay, so this is showing import values, right? So the value of all imports in trillions, I think. Maybe billion. No, that's probably trillions. That's probably a trillion. 2 trillion. Okay, import value, static revenue of this, import value after demand response. Oh, I see. So they adjusted the demand response lower. And then tariff revenue. Oh, so it went from 600. So see, that's like almost not half, but it's like 60%. So like well, I guess that is a 30% drop. But if you look at this, like the import value, it doesn't go down like drastically. You see what I'm saying? Like from 2 trillion to 1.9 to 1.9, 1.8. And this is year by year, going 10 years. I just wonder if that's really something that's that's a realistic. I mean, obviously, Penn Morton is much smarter than I am, so I'm not saying they're not. But I don't know if that doesn't feel like, I mean, maybe it will. Maybe it will. Maybe we'll continue to import or to purchase imported goods at maybe a higher rate. I don't know. But something doesn't feel right. It feels a little off to me, personally. Personally. So why the fuck isn't anyone asking why we're letting a math flunky who thinks he dropped the price of prescription by 1,400% fuck around with our economy? That's the question of the hour, Karen. Rebel yell bourbon bottle keepsake. What? Oh, what's that? Oh, you have a keepsake? Hi, Grace Lisa. Where does the tariff? So there's another good question. Oh my God, Grace Lisa, that's exactly the question I was asking myself. Where exactly does the tariff revenue go? I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to Google it. Other people. Okay. All right. Well, this is USA Today, so take it with a grain of salt. Um, it was a current year. King Louis was actually part of King Louis' stash. What? What? Two Kentucky bourbon producers already closing. I've heard that. I heard that. Tariff revenue goes directly to the Treasury Department, who can then do whatever they want with it, right, Lee? Pretty much. Granddad decanters from my old granddad. That's cute. Okay, so this is from March 5th of this year. Trump put tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, China. Where does the tariff money go? Oh my God. After a month-long delay, okay, let's just see. So where's that money going? Trump has long talked about tariffs as a tool to raise revenue and offset costs associated with proposed tax cuts, going so far as to float the idea of replacing income tax with tariffs. Here's what we know so far about the potential revenue. Let's just see. That's how tariffs work. Trump's tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China are expected to cost the typical U.S. household more than $1,200 per year, according to the Peterson Institute for International Economics. PIIE is what we call it in the lingo. The money from tariffs paid by American companies goes to the U.S. Department of Treasury and enters the General Affairs budget, said Felix Tintelnot. Oh, Felix Tintelnot. Holy shit. An associate professor of economics at Duke University in North Carolina. From there, it can be used essentially for anything. Into the general fund, Lee says, there are two taxes that are collected that go to harbor maintenance. Ah, okay. So some of it is allocated to ports. Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. It's going to military, what's LE? Or to billionaires. Well, I think here's what I think it is. Okay, let me tell you what my hot take is. Here's my hot take. Stay with me. My hot take is this money can go in many different directions, obviously. It can go to invest in stablecoin because I think it was it Singapore or Taiwan, or maybe it wasn't Taiwan. One country over there, east of or west of me, is really going balls deep on stablecoin, right? So it could be to increase stablecoin reserves. It could be to oh shit. Oh, it could be to give to companies who are building their AI and crypto mining facilities, i.e., the big seven, I like to call them: Apple, Google, Meta, Palantir, XAI, OpenAI. Who am I missing? Oh, Amazon. So I think the big seven get huge. Well, first of all of their expenses to build shit are all their costs to reshore stuff is going to be expense. So I can imagine a lot of it goes to fund that, help them. I could see a scenario where it does go into certain departments like Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense. Again, going to ending up in the hands of billionaires like Peter Thiel because of the Palantir contracts and other lucrative. So I think the money ends up going to the lucrative contract holders. So it's going to Skynet or the strategic reserve, right? Grace Lisa, you're right. Yeah. He likes to stay home more with baby Otto. Otto is such a cute name. Oh my god. My cousin from San Francisco is whatever the equivalent of a coffee sommelier. He's been featured in the New York Times for winning. Used to go to EU a lot for it, and now he's a dad. My grandpa was a chef. Oh my gosh, what a nice thing. Does Congress control the general fund? That's a good one. There's a question. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what's the general fund. Well, they hold the power of the purse. Constitutional authority, the appropriations process. I mean, it doesn't really. Oh, the general fund itself is the primary bank account of the U.S. government held by the Department of the Treasury at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. It holds the funds collected through taxes, fees, and the sale of government securities. Congress authorizes spending from this fund through the appropriations process. In essence, Congress dictates how much money is allocated and spent, while the Treasury manages the collection and disbursement of those funds. So it's Mrs. Beasley. Mrs. Beasley. That's who it is. Yeah, Congress doesn't have any power except for to rubber stamp whatever. But here, I'm going to ask it again. If it was bad for the billionaires would stop it. If it were bad for the billionaires would fucking stop it. And it's not. Hi, Kim. Agree with Jay Rance about a gal research show. Good night. Oh, good night, dearest Kim. Oh, you rock too, girl. I love you. I love you. Have a good rest. Rest well, my friend. Yeah, it's just yeah. I know. Their front tires. I wish that would stop them. I don't know. I think that they're perfectly fine with all the chaos. Frankly, I don't know. I could be wrong, but that to me is bigger trouble than anybody's reporting on, right? Like nobody is reporting on the fact that, you know, the fucking oh here um nobody's reporting on what David Sachs thinks of the economic policy. Mark Andreessen. They're detached from reality, Grace Lisa, and they have their own reality, and they like their own reality much better. It's the same way that Silicon Valley convinced themselves that they were humanitarians when in fact they are the reason that the human race will be destroyed. But they're convincing themselves that everything they do is towards a better world. It's just that how they define a better world might be slightly different from how you and I might define a better world. And at the end of the day, the primal human, maybe it's primal, maybe it's not, but the very human trait of wanting to preserve wealth and avoid accountability, personally, for me, has always been the driving north star of all of these folks is how do I maximize my wealth and how do I avoid accountability? Whether it be for taxes, crimes, social safety nets, the greater good, all the things. They want protection from accountability for what they do to impact the rest of the world, whether it's criminal or just ethically disgusting. So, there you go. that's that's where we're at. That's where we're at. I simply cannot wrap my head. I know I can't wrap my head around that, and I really didn't. I mean, I feel like I grew up. Well, I grew up in Silicon Valley, and I worked alongside people in the tech industry, and I'm terribly disappointed. I really can't believe that they, like I didn't hear from people who I was very close to. I have dear friends that worked at very high levels in some of the Silicon Valley firms. And I know they are good people. I mean, they're not bad people, but were they fooled too, or did they actually know? You know, so I don't know. It's never too late. It's never too late, Silicon Valley, to get up and walk out and make a big stink. It's never too late. I know it takes a lot of guts, but you probably have some money in your bank account. You probably could weather the storm for a minute, and actually, you'd be on the right side of history. It's very much like the situation in Gaza where we will turn around and go, how did we let that happen? That's what's going to happen sooner rather than later. You know, we're going to turn around and say, how do we let this happen? Oh, no, Jay, that's right. The hurricanes and all the warning systems and things. I didn't even think of that. Yikes. Anyway. What a lucky man he was. All right, I've got some stuff I want to read to you. Read to me, mama. Read to me. Read to me. Read to me. This is Lev Parnas's Substack. We like Lev a lot. He's a good guy. We love Lev, as they would say. People with money can ignore the market and economy. Regular people will bear the brunt of it all. Yeah, and in the meantime, Lee, as we've seen, they're just going to lie to the people about what's really happening, because they can bank on the fact that economic effects don't show up in the moment, right? They show up over time. And that, I think, is one of the things that this administration is betting on, is that people don't pay attention to the down the line, right? They think, oh, what's happening right now? Which is interesting. But I guess that's just human think. Yeah. I know. Actually, I think this was from your tweet. Yes, I do. No spoilers. I read it last night. I was surprised by his placement in the story. Oh. Okay, here we go. This is Lev Parnas. Hello, Lev. Lev Remembers is the name of his Substack. Breaking: Trump's secret Epstein dinner leaks. Panic inside the Oval Office. Trump calls it bullshit. JD Vance denies everything. Bingo Bongo refused to show up. I think that's the best part of that. Bingo Bongo didn't even want to show up. He is such a little girl. And I don't mean that to denigrate little girls, because little girls are great. But the stereotypical little girl reaction, like, meh, that's what Bingo Bongo reminds me of. So I'm going off a trope. Sorry. Oh, man. As I sat back and watched Donald Trump taking questions from the Oval, I didn't just hear the words, I watched his face. When asked about the Epstein scandal, he snapped, called it a hoax, called it bullshit again. But I know that look. Behind the bravado, I saw fear. Not the kind you can fake, the kind that leaks through your clenched jaws and darting eyes. He's panicking. And then came J.D. Vance, pretending nothing is happening, denying any dinner or meeting at his residence, denying any coordination around Epstein and Maxwell.
Mr. President. The two Kevins, very good.
Mr. President, is Vice President Vance gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw a report today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country, and that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit, okay?
Okay. This is actually different too. Now watching The Apprentice, it really does a good job of cluing you into his catchphrases and his tics, right? Like the tics that he has around when he's confronted with information and things like that, and when he pivots and all that. So the movie The Apprentice actually gave me even more insight into some of these facial and word and, things like that. Please make him stop. I know. Yes, Gloria Allred was there. Yes, she had a little press conference. I didn't watch the whole thing, But I thought that was interesting. I mean, I don't, Gloria Allred has a problematic past and can be both wonderful and a pariah all at the same time. That's the way I feel about Gloria Allred. Lee says, I expect these tariffs to have impact sooner because retail has been holding back increases. Ah, thank you, Lee. Hoping for a taco. When this next wave hits, there will be no choice but to raise prices. That makes sense. That really makes sense. That really makes sense. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, we had a cushion because everybody stocked up after Liberation Day freak out. Yep. Hmm. My sources tell me that due to mounting media scrutiny, especially after we broke the story, the original dinner was scrapped and moved off the books. Instead, quiet meetings were held at the White House, and high level conversations took place behind closed doors. But here's the part the media missed while chasing what we already exposed. Bingo Bongo, the one man in Trump's inner circle who has refused to play along with the Epstein cover up, was never going to attend. And that was a major point of discussion in those meetings. The tension between Bingo Bongo and Trump's loyalist, especially Pamela Joe Bondi, is real. And Trump knows it. They're trying to hold the narrative together, but Bingo Bongo is the crack they can't control. Oh, we need to encourage Mr. Bingo Bongo. We need to encourage Mr. Bingo Bongo. Hell yeah. Come on, Bongo. Bingo Bongo, which is, I'm just really, I won't call him Bingo Bongo every time, but I'm tempted to. I'm just going to let you know that. I mean, it's going to take everything in my power not to just call him Bingo Bongo. So I'll just call him Bongo. Bongo, I'm told, is not playing ball. He's defiant. He's seen the files, read the transcripts, and knows the truth about Epstein, the documents, the flight logs, the dirty connections. And he wants no part of the cover up Trump is orchestrating now. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. That's why there's tension inside the walls of Trump's DOJ. And that's why, according to my sources, part of these conversations were spent trying to broker peace between Bingo Bongo and Bondi. Kash Patel was acting as Bongo's proxy. Think about that. I know. What is going on with the three of them? Oh, this is one of the darkest scandals this country has ever seen. Meanwhile, the fight for accountability is going strong. Attorney Gloria Allred, who represents multiple survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse, publicly called for the House to issue subpoenas to past and current key Trump officials, Alex Acosta, fuck yeah, Pamela Joe, and Deputy AG Todd Blanche, because she knows exactly what they're trying to do: narrow the scope, shape the narrative, rewrite history. As I warned you in a previous letter, this was always the plan: targeted subpoenas, controlled disclosures, just enough transparency to fool the press while keeping the truth buried. Allred is drawing a line in the sand, and she's right. The victims deserve to be heard, not edited, not sanitized, and not silenced. The subpoenas must go wide and deep, and our voices, your voice, must be louder than ever.
I do believe that there should be a joint hearing by the House committees and the Senate committee. I'm aware that the House subcommittee is issuing subpoenas for many people in the list that they've already developed, including many former attorney generals. I think that they should add to that list former United States Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, Alex Acosta. In addition, I think they should subpoena Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and Attorney General Pam Bondi. Finally, victims and survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and/or Ghislaine Maxwell should be invited to appear before the House and Senate committees to share how they were victimized by Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, the impact on them of these crimes, and how the criminal justice system has helped them or failed them. Victims should not be subpoenaed or compelled in any way to testify, but they should be invited. Some may wish to testify, but they should be invited and not compelled. And some may want to be anonymous, that is, they would not want their identities.
Gloria Allred never changes. Can I tell you this from the what O.J. Simpson kind of time frame? She never changes. Yeah, gotta give her props for that. Bingo Bongo Blockhead. Hey, Clark. How you doing, darling? How you doing? Paul J. Not sure it's good. Meh, it is what every morning is. It is. It just is. It isn't good or bad. It just is. You gotta go to Zen. You gotta go to Buddhism now for this one. This is the part of Buddhism I really like. Nothing is good or bad. It just is. So I thought that was interesting. That's my favorite part of Buddhism. I probably have it wrong, but that's the part I like the most. Does Bongo's office at the FBI have windows? I found it interesting that Lev says he was the one to break the story. I know. I'm not sure what he's referring to. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe he said that they were going to meet there. I don't know. I didn't follow that reporting all that closely, so I have to say. I don't know. But Neil asked the question of the hour. Does Bingo Bongo's office at FBI headquarters have lots of windows? The FBI is hunting Democratic. Oh, that's right. The FBI is busy because they're going to arrest. They're going to arrest the Texas Democrats. And did you hear they had a bomb threat for where the folks who were staying in Illinois had a bomb threat where they were staying? I guess because people are fucking crazy. What's McMahon got hacked on live TV? What's that? Who's McMahon? Who's McMahon? I don't even know that name. Who would thought Bongo would have one with a smidgen of ethics? Good morning, Val. Good morning, darling. Linda McMahon. Oh, okay. All right. Linda McMahon got hacked on live TV. She did? I didn't see that. Oh my God. That sounds like fun. The Cheds are brain dead. Yes, that is true. And Dump has known that since 2015, 16, when he said he could shoot anyone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. Yes, indeed. Well, I didn't hear about Linda McMahon being fucking hacked on live television. What the hell? Where have I been? Her audio system. Oh my God, that's amazing. They played circus music. Oh my God. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Oh my God, I'm going to find it. Okay, we're going to finish this and then I'm going to find it. Uh-oh, it's one of those days where my brain is going to go in different directions. Saw Pritzker say that a vlogger with White House credentials was reporting from the hotel in Illinois the day before the bomb threat. Not sure who JB was referring to. I wonder, Lee. That could be just about anybody, because all the stupid vloggers that are really MAGA have White House press credentials. Did you see about the confidential informant hack? No, God, Carla, where have I been living? Where am I living? I can't even believe it. Okay, we're going to finish this. Then we're going to go on to fucking Linda McMahon getting hacked with circus music and confidential informant hack. What? Here we go. This is Lev. We're back to Lev. Congress must allow the victims to be heard, truly heard. Those who are ready to speak, who want their truth on the record, should be given every opportunity to do so without restriction or spin. The world deserves to know the full scope of the monsters involved, not just Jeffrey Epstein, but Ghislaine Maxwell, who enabled, orchestrated, and perpetuated the abuse. These aren't ghosts of the past. They were, and in many ways still are, protected by networks of power that continue to silence survivors. That's why we must step in. That's why you and I must help amplify the voices of the victims, because if we don't, they will be erased from the narrative again, and we won't let that happen. Because the Epstein problem isn't going away. Trump and his team know it. That's why they're scrambling. That's why they're spinning. That's why they're preparing the next piece of the distraction campaign, a carefully constructed storyline being drafted right now by Todd Blanche, designed to discredit the victims and redirect blame. My sources tell me this will be pushed to the public through Congress, specifically through Jimmy Comer, as part of a broader effort to turn the entire Epstein operation into a deep state conspiracy. It's disgusting, but it's familiar. Because this is what Trump does. He weaponizes doubt. He launders guilt through committees. He hides behind surrogates and distracts with chaos. And when it gets too hot, he calls it all fake news. But not this time. This time, the truth is leaking faster than they can patch it. And that's why Trump is furious that this dinner leaked. I'll say it again. We were the ones who exposed it. We put the pressure on, and now Trump is on the warpath. His team is scrambling to find the source of the leak, threatening anyone who crosses them. Well, Donald, I'll make it easy for you. It was me, and I'm just getting started. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ooh, Lev, getting spicy. Getting spicy. Okay, wait. Now I gotta find this fucking Linda McMahon bullshit. Okay, hold on. Spicy, spicy. Okay, here we go. See if I can find a decent clip. Do 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 do. It's really short clips. I just want to make sure I get a good one. Oh man, I hate Facebook. Okay, wait. Let's do this. Okay. Hi, Oomph. Oh, is Lev just getting started now? Ouch. Oh, the confidential information was the judicial hack. Okay, I'm going to have to look that up. Federal court. Oh, the Pacer shit. Yes, Teresa, I pulled that actually for today. I got to go find it, but from you. So credit to you for raising that one too. But we'll get to that. Yeah, Pacer. I found a link to McMahon and posted it in Discord. Oh shit. Okay, well let me show you what I've got here and see if I can. Oops, wrong one. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. This is fucking Facebook. Fucking Facebook. Okay, let me see. This is the whole thing, so we won't play the whole thing, but. Oops.
This is the largest crowd that we've ever had at the National Conservative Student Conference. I don't
National
know how we
Conservative
cram
Student
any more
Conference.
people in here, but let's give, again, you heard Nicole's introduction, but let's give another
Do we
round
know
of
when it
applause
was?
for the 13th Secretary of Education.
Some caution.
Oh man, you bitch. Oh, I hate Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account. So hold on. I'll go to the Discord and get the clip that Neil shared. Don't switch. Don't switch. Don't switch. Don't switch. Where is it? Is that the video? Lost in the game. Okay, I found one. I found one. I found one. Don't worry. Oh no, Neil, you're very helpful. No, Neil, you're fine. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, I found Daily Cause. How's it? Daily Cause has it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Worked. He had his family in the White House. I know that Jared and Ivanka were incredibly helpful to him, but he had to do some staff changes pretty quickly as people understood what his working style was, and he understood, them. So, but this time, he knew the story. He knew how to, how to make things work, how to make things run. He had the people coming in that he really wanted to work with him, and then he'd have this little gap. Sometimes kids in college take a gap year. Well, he didn't voluntarily take a gap term, but I think it turned out to be an incredible thing for him.
The Trump administration.
No, hold on. Trump HQ in shambles over Epstein files. Oh, that looks good. Actually, that's the Times Radio. All right, maybe we'll listen to that too. Probably way better. No, I didn't see a video clip in what you sent. I'm so sorry, Neil, or what you dropped. I'm so sorry. It's probably me. Don't worry about it. Does anyone else hear Entry of the Gladiators? What's that? Is that a song? Oh my God. But you know what I do have? Wait, hold on. Oh wait, where is it? Is it playing? Is Jen Griffey here? Wait, hold on. Oh, it is playing. I can't hear it though. Why can't I hear it?
Come on, it's gonna be fucking hard. Special edition and your AI couldn't copy. I'm leaving clues in the fitting room and it's hot tea.
Sorry. I clipped that for Jen Griffey. Linda McMahon is in her position because of the Ring Boy scandal. Really? I feel like she'll just do anything for him. And that's why. She's another clown that will do anything. Oh, it was halfway down the story. I'm sorry. Thank you, Neil. Is this the denim ad? No. But that was for Jenny. That was for Jen Griffey. I just like that song, too. So there is that. There's that. Okay, I have a lot of stuff. I need to not get distracted. Hold on. Stop distracting me. Jenny was my dog's name. Oh, I remember the picture of beautiful Jenny. Oh, I love that Jenny. That's a beautiful Jenny. We've got beautiful Jennies. Let's see here. What do I got here? I thought I had that. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Nothing really matters. Oh, actually, I want to play this thing because we just talked about the JD Vance meeting. Yeah, hearts in the chat for Jenny. That dog was so beautiful, Max. I remember seeing the picture of her. The sweetheart. Okay, here's a little Times Radio. We love our Times Radio here at the lounge. Clip is about a little insulting to gladiators. Yeah, exactly. The circus music is gladiator. That's the gladiator entry? Really? That's so silly.
I think right now.
Oh, shit.
I don't want to call.
I thought that was on screen. I'm so silly. I want to be like Jenny. Jenny. All right, where am I? Am I there? Yes. Here we go. All right, this is the Times Radio. Trump HQ in shambles over Epstein files as JD Vance cancels the strategy meeting, but had it. If you know, you know.
Damage control, but maybe it is some kind of damage control. They're trying to figure out how to respond to this story that doesn't really go away and leaves them, quite frankly, very politically vulnerable. There hasn't been an issue that has
really is that what it is?
President Trump's conservative MAGA base like this issue has.
Child rape? Are you kidding me, lady? Child rape won't go away. Okay. Have you met Matt Gaetz? Just kidding.
I'm sure you've been looking through this as well. The New York Times reporting this evening that Donald Trump intends to meet in person with Vladimir Putin as soon as next week. And then he intends to follow up that meeting with the Russian leader with another meeting between himself Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky. This was apparently revealed in a call that Trump had tonight with Zelensky and a couple of other European leaders, Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, included. This indicates a significant gear shift. Donald Trump is well and truly in this one, if I'm to phrase it like that. He looks like he is actively trying to push all the levers available.
Absolutely. I mean, this
well, now we're on to
has,
Putin, which
I
is
think,
fine.
Really frustrated President Trump. I think he came into office thinking it would be easy to end this, or it would be more simple, at least, than it has been. He talks about the art of the deal, his relationship with Vladimir Putin, his relationship with other European leaders, but it simply hasn't been that easy. In fact, we've seen President Trump really change his tone on Vladimir Putin during the first 6 months or so of this administration, really ripping into him on social media, on Truth Social, something we really haven't seen before, a far cry from the first Trump administration when President Trump was, quite frankly, very complimentary of Vladimir Putin. So we've also seen it, on the Ukrainian side, President Trump have a roller coaster of a relationship with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. So certainly a major development. We know that Steve Witkoff, President Trump's envoy, spent time with Vladimir Putin. President Trump was posting about that on Truth Social, posting a little bit about these conversations he's had with European Union leaders. But the New York Times was the first to report that this meeting will reportedly take place next week, or meetings.
So this isn't about the Epstein
all eyes
meeting,
on that.
Times
Donald
Radio.
Trump face-to-face with Vladimir Putin. And then there is the proposal that Putin, Zelensky and Trump will meet face-to-face. And I'm trying to search back through my memory bank, but it has been a considerable amount of time, if there's been any time at all, when Zelensky has met with Putin. Donald Trump is going to be there in that trio as well. But if that meeting, and there's no absolute clarification that meeting of the trio will take place after Trump initially meets Vladimir Putin. But it is an interesting thing to consider. And the optics out of that will be, the lines, if we get them out of that, will be absolutely fascinating. This comes on the back of the news that Donald Trump has hit India with an extra 25% tariff for buying Russian oil. A 25% tariff was already in place, of course, so now 50% trade tariffs are what India must bear.
Doesn't
that
announce
is the highest of any country in the world, joint with Brazil. India says the additional tariffs are unfair, unjustifiable and unreasonable. So Bill Browder is the author of Red Notice, How I Became Putin's Number One Enemy.
Trump.
And he told me this evening the sanctions could have a significant impact on Russia's war effort.
What they decided to do to India today could potentially be very much helpful towards ending this war, because over the last 3.5 years since the war started, India's bought about $350 billion worth of oil from Russia. That's $350 billion that India has basically supplied to the Russian war machine.
It wasn't that long ago that Donald Trump was calling India a friend.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how all of these relationships with world leaders seemingly change, in the blink of an eye.
Teresa, I can't wait to see the outcome of that stupid
Indian
meeting.
Prime Minister Modi was here in Washington not long ago, really looking to meet President Trump in person during his second administration, make an impression. But President Trump, once again, it kind of, this is related, obviously, potentially to his relationship with Vladimir Putin. I mean, he's frustrated with how this war is going and that it's not ending. He's frustrated with Putin not coming to the negotiating table and not seemingly not.
I need to know, what part of the country is that? She has a distinct accent, and I'm just curious what part of the country. Is that like feels like it's Indiana or Ohio or somewhere in that neighborhood. Does that sound? I'm just curious. Now I need to know. Now I'm going to try and find out who she is and where she's from.
wanting to do this on Trump's terms. So
take me all
Trump
day.
is going through India. So I guess the argument
Who the
could be
fuck
made.
does a
We will have to
glottal
see
tea? I don't
what
know.
happens,
This
but
woman.
this could be a tactic to
The
get
end.
Russia to the negotiating table, to really hit them where it hurts with one of their allies or trade partners. President Trump using that to essentially hurt Russia and potentially bring them to the table on negotiating.
Really,
okay.
lady? Do you study this at all? Or
I wonder.
you
So
just come
the opinion of one of our guests earlier, it was Bill Browder, who you just heard from there, is that this is a very blunt instrument, and he predicted that Donald Trump, that these 50% tariffs, the extra 25%, would last no longer than a fortnight, was his prediction, Julia. I don't know whether you might agree with him, or that is being spoken about over there as well, that this is a blunt instrument. It's meant to hurt quick and sharp, but it may not be a long-standing arrangement.
I mean the American
So there's
girl.
a term here used in the U.S. called taco. It stands for...
we know all about taco.
Taco.
Yes. So I think a lot of Trump's critics could say that maybe taco applies here. I think a lot of this could potentially be hinged on what happens with these negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, because this relationship is obviously so closely tied to that war. So we'll see how long it lasts. But the White House has faced a lot of criticism for levying these tariffs or threatening them, then backing off. So we'll see what happens there.
Okay, let's talk about JD Vance. There are conflicting reports. Hopefully you can get to the bottom of this for us, Julia. Conflicting reports emerging from the White House on whether or not the Vice President JD Vance had convened a meeting of senior Trump administration members to discuss the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case. The Vice President's team have denied the meeting was related to Epstein, although multiple news outlets have said the opposite. CNN reporting the VP met the group to assess whether or not to publish an audio recording and transcript of the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's recent conversation with Epstein's accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell allegedly told Mr. Blanche she had no evidence that would incriminate Donald Trump. What is the truth of this?
She had no evidence that would incriminate.
We're hearing obviously conflicting reports. And, a lot of U.S. outlets, we've reported that this meeting is happening. However, J.D. Vance's team pushing back on this. Regardless, I think this shows that this story is not going away, the Jeffrey Epstein story, and the administration knows it. Even when President Trump is landing in Scotland, for example, it's the first question, or one of the first questions he's asked from last month when he was on the roof of the White House yesterday. I believe he was asked about this. So the Trump administration, I think right now, I don't want to call it damage control, but maybe it is some kind of damage control. They're trying to figure out how to respond to this story that doesn't really go away and leaves them, quite frankly, very politically vulnerable. There hasn't been an issue that has split President Trump's conservative MAGA base like this issue has. You also have a lot of Republican lawmakers who want to dig.
Because they sold it. You stupid cow. Because they sold the story to their base as the most important thing in the world. I have not seen that. I'll find that. Ain't gonna go away by the bluegrass grannies. They sold this story, honey. That's why it's not gonna go away. Because they went balls deep on the Save the Children message and the Q and the this and the that. It's all in, they built it. They built this. That's why it's a little bit of a leopard a face-eating leopard. That's what it is. It's a face-eating leopard for the administration because it was the core of Q. It still is the core of Q. So I understand why she's reporting this the way she is, because she's not in the business of reporting like the nuances of it. Yeah, exactly. All right. I know I use that metaphor too much. I'm sorry.
Deeper into this issue. You have members of the president's base who aren't happy with how the administration has handled this issue. They want as much information released as possible. Of course, There's a number of, I guess, things to keep in mind here. First of all, the identity of the victims and the safety of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. That's obviously top of mind to anyone investigating this. But also, Attorney General Pam Bondi told President Trump, according to reporting.
You know, if the safety and protection of the victims were important, wouldn't they have pursued justice earlier? Wouldn't they ask Alex Acosta why the deal was made the way that it was? My God, reporters, can you ask anything under the surface? Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, it's so dumb. I don't want the victims. I don't want any details. I don't need the details. You fucking GOP sick motherfuckers, chuds, you're the ones who want the details because somebody should probably check your hard drive. If you cared about the victims, why were none of the people who victimized them brought to account? Except for the two people, one's dead, one's about to get a pardon. What? Don't tell me you care about the victims. That's bullshit. And no reporter should report it like that.
Back in May that he was listed in the Epstein files. We don't know in what context. We know that the president had a relation or a friendship with Jeffrey Epstein in the 90s and early 2000s. There's photographs of them together. So this isn't flattering for President Trump, no matter how you cut it. So the administration has to figure out how they respond to this because it's not going away.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
she gets paid a lot more money than I do.
Her lawyers
stuff like that.
Said she'd suffer irrevocable reputational harm if her interview with Todd Blanche is released. She told the Justice Department she never saw Trump do anything concerning with Epstein. So she's also incredibly concerned that she's going to be exposed.
She is, and that's a whole other part of this story because the deputy attorney...
Wait, what? She's already been exposed. That bitch was convicted. That bitch has been convicted of child rape and trafficking and grooming. What? Times Radio, do better. Do better. Ironic Teal basically funded MAGA 3X, who came up with Q, and Zagate, which many J6ers believed the Teal's Palantir scores the government contract to use his tech to help arrest them. That's right. They used it for the J6ers. Oopsie. Forgot about that, Clark.
General met with her, and there's been the possibility of a pardon that's been floated. We don't know if that will happen, but that's a whole other part of this and how that negotiating
her part.
Kind of
she did her
works
part.
into what is being released or what is ultimately released by the administration.
Yeah, Karen.
Yeah, okay, all right. Let's talk about
already on a reduced
Robert
sentence.
F. Kennedy Jr.
Okay.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has announced it's pulling $500 million worth of funding from vaccine development projects.
Ah, yes.
The Health Secretary RFK announced the cuts to all the projects using mRNA technology over claims that it poses more risks than benefits.
Shall she ever be accepted in polite society again? Maybe Steve Bannon can have a re-coming out party for Ghislaine. Perhaps, mayhaps. It could happen. Maybe Howard Nutlicker, since he was next door to Ghislaine and Mr. Epstein, maybe Mr. Howard Nutlicker, as the neighbor, could explain to us what he might have seen. There you go. Yeah, pedophilia was a standard glove set accusation for years. Yeah. Well, look how Roy Cohn used that to threaten the DOJ during Trump's discrimination case in New York. We saw that in the in the not documentary, in the movie last night. You know, it's true. They use whatever they can to threaten people with exposure, and and then because the attitudes in this country are so fucked up, that's actually a threat to people's well-being and livelihoods and things. So, yeah. Yeah, Ghislaine's sentence was cut down from 80 years to 20. Oh, boy. So, yeah, spare me the talk about victims.
It will impact projects led by pharmaceutical companies such as Pfizer and Moderna for vaccines against bird flu and viruses that cause COVID-19. RFK took to social media to make the announcement.
Millions of people, maybe even you or someone you know, caught the Omicron variant despite being vaccinated. Let me be absolutely clear. HHS supports safe, effective vaccines for every American who wants them. That's why we're moving beyond the limitations of mRNA for respiratory viruses and investing in better solutions.
Yeah.
That was Robert F. Kennedy Jr. How's this news gone down, Julia? He's of course sort of doubtful about the claims of mRNA technology. Basically, poses more risks than benefits. He doesn't believe it is an avenue that is worth his department's investment.
Well, I think there's two things at play here. Number one, Robert F. Kennedy's history of, being a vaccine skeptic, or even in some cases a vaccine denier.
And encouraging the lack of vaccination for almost an entire country, which resulted in the deaths of children due to measles. So Robert F. Kennedy is a danger to society. Period. That's it. Period.
Some of his past comments on vaccines. I think that's concerning a lot of Americans who heard this news. On top of that, we're in a post-COVID world, a post-coronavirus world. The world's changed so much. The U.S. has changed so much since the pandemic. So I think there's a lot of skepticism and concern about this announcement and really what that looks like going forward, how vaccines could be impacted, how many of these pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer, like Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, et cetera, are impacted by this.
Yeah, in June, he fired all 17 members of a committee that issues official government recommendations on immunisation, replacing them with some people who have criticised the safety and efficacy of vaccines. There's a big conversation over there. He claimed that mRNA vaccines can help encourage new mutations and can actually prolong pandemics as the virus constantly mutates to escape the protective effects of the vaccine. So he says the vaccine is essentially causing different COVID variants. It causes it to mutate. I mean, I'm not a science expert, but I'm sure those who produce and work with mRNA tech will dispute that, but it is very much a national conversation over there, I know. Thanks so much for being with us, Julia Manchester, much appreciated. Julia Manchester,
I'm going to look you up, Julie, because I need to know where you're from. I can't find that. I'm going to find it. What's the name of the grannies that are singing that? Is it really the Bluegrass Grannies? Is it the Raging Grannies? I used to hang out with them in Santa Cruz. IDK the name, I just called them that. But it's called Not Going Away. Pretty sure general journalists take on this as useful as Bobby's brainworm. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Mutations happening during infections. Even I know this. I know. It's just, he's dumb. Yeah. mRNA is the best things in vaccines this century. It's plug and play. I know. It's called progress. mRNA is called progress. I don't know. I mean, I think. Seems kind of basic. Oh, I've got so much. Okay, I've got some good stuff for us today. Let's see. I'll find that eventually. But I wonder if it's the Raging Grannies. Is there a Raging Grannies? Like, now I'm a little upset. The Raging Grannies up in Santa Cruz, oh my God, their songs were absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen them, they're adorable. They're really adorable. Silver hair, bad voices. The Raging Grannies movement. Okay, well, I'll try and find it. I love them. Rock on, ladies. Okay, wait, there was one more thing. Hold on. Holdy Ani. Oh, I know what it was. There is a, let's see. There is a special committee meeting from Texas on the redistricting. If we want to check in on that, let's check in on that and see what's happening with it. And I've got stuff to read. Oh, shoot. The Texas House. Oh, posted on Discord. Thank you so much, Max. I appreciate that. Sorry you had to do that. I thought I ain't gonna go away. Oh, that's probably why. It is the fast fashion of immunology. Yes. Well, is that bad though? Because isn't fast fashion kind of bad? RFK just enrages me. Hi, Meowingstar. Good morning. Saw a poster at my doctor's warning about measles. I'm telling you, he actually to me is one of the most dangerous clowns at the White House. They're all clowns, right? This guy is a dangerous clown because it's like, when you put somebody in a position, well, not you, but when people are put in positions to just be like figureheads, this guy, and then the figureheads try to do things, but they're always half-assed because they're just figureheads and they weren't intended to be like real people. That's what I feel like he is. Like he's a kid in a candy store and now he just gets to make like random decisions and everybody has to jump and like it changes our whole thing. Yeah, he arranges me. Or enrages me. He arranges me. Or enrages me. Or both. Let's see what's happening in Texas right now. This is live.
For testimony with regard to redistricting and census data, all the way back literally to 2021, and we've had a lot of discussion and 5 hearings thus far, with almost 4,000 people participating and 205 witnesses just before the Senate. We've had ample opportunity, and no one has presented data or a compelling case that this map violates any applicable laws. So it accomplishes what were my 2 objectives. First, that it perform better on a partisan basis for Republicans, but then second, that it be more compact as requested by so many of the witnesses. And with that, I would do my best to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, wake up.
Thank you, Chairman. Senator Miles, questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the explanation you just gave. I'd like to start off by going back to July 21st when we had a joint caucus of the whole, meaning we had the Democratic caucus and the Republican caucus, and this was our initial conversation about this redistricting. Our initial conversation in private, just us.
Yes, sir.
I want to make it very clear that, Mr. Chairman, when you made it clear that I would be on this committee and I accepted it, and as well as you and Lieutenant Governor, that my exact words to you were, I couldn't see the fight going any other way. If there was going to be a fight, I wanted to be in the room. So I appreciate you for allowing me to be here on this committee. But what I also said to all of my colleagues, to you of all my colleagues, is I've looked at this process, and if we're going to do this, is what I said to you, if we're going to do this, Senator Hughes, I'm going to expose it for what it really is. If you recall me saying that. I said I would expose it for what it really is, and in turn, each one of you would be exposed for carrying out this racist process. That's what I said to you on the 21st in the Betty King room when we first got together and talked about this process. Does any of my colleagues remember that?
I remember your comments.
Okay, thank you, sir. Going past the 21st, Mr. Chairman, you said we had 205 individual witnesses testify. You also said that we had 38 that clicked on and watched, and don't know how long they clicked on, how long they watched. We don't have their record. They just clicked on and checked it out and checked it off, right? But we had 205. 205 is the number that you use. People who had testified. Now, citizens, I want you to know, and colleagues, I want you to know, for something as important as redistricting the entire state of Texas, I would believe that there are more than 205 people that would like to have some input. So if that is a point of success that you're speaking of there, sir, I would beg to differ, respectfully. Second, I'm glad and I appreciate, and I'm sure all the citizens of Texas appreciate you telling the truth, being honest. When you looked at that map, you said it was your intention to pick up 5 more Republican seats. Thank you for being honest on that, sir. We appreciate that. But that was correct me if I'm wrong, that was the direct instructions from the DOJ letter from Washington, D.C. that was ordered by Trump. That's exactly what it said. They wanted to pick up 5 more.
Rigged districting.
Isn't that correct? Same
right,
thing said in the
Lisa?
letter. The same thing you're admitting to. It's the same
Rigged
instructions they
districting.
had in the letter from the DOJ. Is that correct? DOJ. Would you agree?
Answer?
Yes, sir.
I would disagree. First off, I had nothing to do with the DOJ letter. I've had no communications with the DOJ.
I don't even know her.
You're correct.
I don't even know her.
The president said it, not the DOJ.
Okay. I've had no communications with the president or the White House. But yes, you're correct. My objective was when I look at the policies and the harm done to the nation through those policies.
Oh, come on.
In the 4 previous years.
Wow, you're a
from
baby.
30 trillion plus deficit to what we saw at the border, to the Venezuelan gangs, to the fentanyl crisis, problems with Russia and China, on and on and on, that it compels me to try to help make sure that we have a Republican Congress going forward.
So
What?
those are the direct orders.
Yikes.
You would agree with me then? Then those are the direct orders.
Even if
from
those
Donald
people
J.
aren't
Trump
good? Whoa.
Through the DOJ.
Dude.
That came to our
Way to
governor,
show your slip.
that came to our lieutenant governor, that came to our attorney general, that came to you as the chairman of this committee, correct?
I've had no instructions.
And you followed it.
I've had no instructions.
You've had no instructions, but that's what was, we've gone through this once before, Senator King, Chairman King. We agree that was the order from the president.
So I carried the congressional redistricting bill in 2003, and my objective then was to create more Republican seats, which we did, and that was my objective when I was asked if I would chair this committee this time. But I've received no directions from anybody.
Stop
Well,
it.
the letter's
Wow,
out
you
there,
look
and we'll
like a
leave it at
weak
that,
ass
and
little
you didn't
man
receive
right
any
now.
direct from the president. But you are admitting that one of your objectives was to increase the congressional districts by 5 Republicans.
That was and is my chief objective.
Was and is. Okay, you probably don't know this because I just heard it on the radio.
But his objective wasn't, sorry, I left Mariah up there. His objective wasn't to ensure everyone had access to voting. His objective was just to get more Republicans. Imagine that. And I understand he's convinced himself that he has to keep saying that, the Republican thing is the way to go for whatever reason. I don't understand that mindset. I really don't. I don't understand being a relatively intelligent person living in the modern world and looking at the Republican policies and deciding, oh, yeah, okay, I can get down with that. I just don't even understand it. That's why it's not about division in this country. It's about disinformation. The Republicans and their voting base are on the wrong side of history. Period. Full stop. No other conversation to be had. Because if at the end of the day you support any administration that eliminates DEI language and departments and funding from across the nation, If you agree with an administration that eliminates gender affirming care for trans youth and trans people, if you agree with an administration that demonizes trans people who are our friends, our families, our neighbors, if you agree with an administration that allows kidnapping of citizens violently off the streets of our cities with no due process, no constitution, then you are wrong. And there is no division. You are incorrect. Period. If you don't believe women and birthing people should have access to safe abortion care, you are wrong. I don't care what your reasons are. You are wrong. And that is a you problem that you have to fix. I don't have to fix shit because I already want people to be left alone and have access to health care and have access to safety net services without a work requirement and all the bullshit that is intended to penalize people who are poor or disabled or both. So if you support any one of those policies, you are wrong. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you. So you have to fix yourself. And then we can have a conversation. But you're not going to convince me that somehow you have some piece of information that makes your position or your support for those actions correct. That simply doesn't exist. And I think it's because people really tend not to think of things from any other perspective except for their own. I listen for that language all the time when people are speaking. Is this a feeling you're having about how something makes you feel? And do you see that it doesn't matter what you think, that you think you're not a racist, that you think you're not a bigot? That is not for you to decide. That is called an observation by people around you. So the reason I call you racist and bigot is because that is how you are behaving. Yeah. Anyway. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, let's listen to this very smart person.
This morning on the way in that A.G. Dillon would not come and speak to us. She didn't respond to the letter that you wrote her, and we respectfully wrote that. I wasn't able to subpoena her per the vote for the committee, but she's out on radio talk shows. And this morning, she said that the reason that the governor gave the ability to call a special session and to put redistricting on call was to get 5 more additional Republican seats. Now, she won't come to tell us that. She won't even respond to us in a letter, my brother. But yet she's on a national network radio station.
That's right, Carla.
All over the country saying exactly what she intended to do. And that was heard just this morning, sir. And it also said that King, but you said, Senator King, that you could do it in any time, which we understand that. I don't think we're questioning the rigged districting being done now. I think the big question for the citizens of Texas is, why is it being done? And all we want we know why it's being done. We just wanted somebody of leadership of this state to say why it's being done. Senator King, you also stated that you were trying to give these congressional members a chance to testify. You also qualified the amount of communication this committee had with each of these offices in the way to make it seem though they were too scared or too damn good to testify before this committee. I heard you say that on yesterday when I was in Boston. But I also know at what time of day yesterday did you decide, because you and I communicated, at what time of day yesterday did you decide to let the congressional members come and testify?
So we had, as I mentioned,
I've got it right here when you communicated with me.
Okay.
Senator King.
So, thank you, Chairman. I'm sorry. So, at the regional hearings, as I mentioned, we had 4 of them testify. And then you and I spoke on the phone Monday night. You called to ask some questions about redistricting. And I told you that we were having the invited testimony hearing Wednesday. And then you said, well, have you invited the congressional members? And I said, no, I haven't. And based on that suggestion, the next morning, we invited all the congressional members.
The next morning?
Tuesday morning.
About what time?
Before 10 a.m.
Before 10? Okay. And you expected them to be here, congressional members, you invited right at 10 o'clock, 11, closer to 11, you invited them, and you expected for them to be here what time?
By 2 o'clock the next day.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And if I can finish answering that.
Yes, sir.
Senator King.
That was similar to the notice that brought 4 congressional members to testify the day before.
It's Indiana and Missouri.
It is also, they all know we're in the middle of this redistricting. They all know the process. One
Is
of them
Indiana Kim Reynolds?
Garcia.
She's a bitch.
Right. They know that there's going to be opportunities for testimony when the bill is laid out, and they know how this works. And so I don't know how to give them longer notice, but based on
it's
your
called giving them longer notice.
Early the next morning, we started the process, and by 10 o'clock, I notified all 12 of them, and we did follow-up reach-outs.
Oh, really?
To see if we could accommodate that.
You sent another email?
Senator Miles.
Gotcha.
You know, although they may not have been here on yesterday, Senator King, you know that they did testify on House maps, on the House map, which is the same map that you filed. You understand that, right?
Yes.
Last Friday at the House redistricting, rigged districting committee hearing, a large number of Texas congressional Democrats took their time to be here in person and testify against this map. I can specifically point to the following congresspeople: Greg Kazar, Jasmine Crockett, Lloyd Doggett, Sylvia Garcia, Al Green, and Mark Vesey were all here to testify on that same map. They testified to the constitutional issues of the BRA issues on this map. They told the committee that this was going to hurt the American people at large and their communities specifically. They embodied the most American of virtues, defiance in the face of oppression. They spoke up and they spoke out on that same map.
Carla, I'm loving it.
That you filed.
I love myself some Barry Manilow.
This is the same map that was filed in the House. There are no differences except for one has an S and one has an H. If they choose not to accept the invitation to appear yesterday, that does not take away from their outcry they have made regarding this map. They still feel the same way, Mr. Chairman. We as a committee need to be honest with ourselves. No matter what is done today or tomorrow regarding this map, this is all just a political theater at its finest. And we've been playing it very good in this redistricting. Political theater. Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm a little angered by the actions of this committee and its pretext. Let us stop pretending that this is about the will of the people. It clearly has been a demonstration of action of this committee and its leadership in the state that we really don't care. Not we, y'all really don't care. Hundreds and hundreds of people have testified before the map came out and after the map came out. And it's done nothing to change the minds and directions of the leadership of this state, Mr. Chairman. members. Nothing. Hundreds of people have testified. When we began this hearing, Mr. Chairman, it was stated that your intention was to wait for a map to come over from the House, correct? But when it made clear that this map would not pass the House representatives because of lack of quorum of members, Senate Bill 4 was referred. Now go think about that. It's exactly the same map, Mr. Chairman. The same copy of the congressional map put forth by the House Redistricting Committee. It is an exact map that breaks apart our minority communities and dilutes black and brown voting power, Mr. Chairman. It's as if the chambers were told, this is the map and this is what it's going to be, point blank, period. I have to ask, were we told that? Were you told that?
And I'm sorry, could you restate that question?
I would have to ask if somebody must have told you all that this is going to be the map, point blank, period. The same map that's going to break up black and brown voting powers. Because it's the same map as the House.
Senator King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to correct one thing. My staff just corrected me that when we posted for Wednesday's hearing, we posted that on Monday. And as soon as we did, my staff emailed the staff of every senator on this committee and asked them to be sure and invite anyone they wanted to come to the invited testimony hearing and to just let us know. So actually, we had asked the Senate members to let us know of anyone they wanted to attend, congressional or otherwise, on Monday. So
anyone they wanted, huh? That's what you stated. Anyone they wanted?
Yes, anyone that they wanted, anyone that you wanted or any other member wanted to testify.
Understood.
Let us know and to go ahead and invite them.
But the question at hand.
The question at hand. So I think I'm correct in saying that anytime I've been asked about this, up until the time I decided to go ahead and file the bill, I had said that I was not sure if I would be drafting a bill or if I would wait on the House. As I watched along, as you did, the House hearings, as I learned about this map, no one ever handed me a stick drive with a map on it. No one emailed me anything and said, file this. Nobody did anything like that at all, from inside this building or outside this building.
I just used my little
I made
brain.
the decision to
And
adopt,
I
as
just
it
did
were,
it on my own.
HB4
Nobody tells me
because
what
I
to
saw
do.
that
Thank you very much.
It complied with the law and that it, from a partisan perspective, performed well,
Yeah,
and that it was more compact than in some regards.
What? Wait, what? He's saying that. Oh shoot! I hate this. All right, hold on. Hold your ears. Okay. So is he saying? Let me make sure I understand. Oh, I'm not even on camera. Hold on. What happened to me? Okay, there I am. So he's saying that his Senate version of the redistricting is what I can't remember now what he just said. Something about like not impacting what? Because it eliminates an entire Democratic district. Yes, it is. I'm so sorry. This is the Texas Senate. So last week we know the House and the House members left the state so that they didn't have quorum for the House bill. Well, this douche whistle on screen now introduced his Senate bill with the same redistricting map. And the Democratic senator is questioning him and saying, so were you told by the White House to do this? No, nobody tells me what to do. Did you just happen to submit this bill while the House members were out of quorum? Blah, blah, blah. And so, the answers, of course, are all yes. And maybe that's not even the most salient issue in terms of coordination, because I would expect the Republicans in a state legislature to coordinate with each other on bill introduction, but whatever. This is I defer to the senator who's challenging this dirtbag as to the significance of that particular argument. It isn't that compelling to me, but also the fact that he's claiming some kind of level of nonpartisanship, but at the same time, he's just admitting that he wants more Republican seats to the elimination of Democratic seats. Yeah, everything's big in Texas, starting with the bullshit. So yeah, this is the Texas Senate.
Than the existing map. And so I decided to file the companion bill. I did talk with the House author about that. So, yes, but this bill is adopted from the House. I didn't adopt it because it's the House's bill. I adopted it because it achieved those objectives that I mentioned.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Compactness.
Because it does the right thing.
Most importantly, performing better from a partisan perspective.
So a simple yes answer to the question, yes or no, is you were not told that this was going to be the map that we gave Texas?
No, I've never been told that.
Okay, thank you.
That was, I
just want to clarify the question.
I believe excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in, but I believe I had full freedom to file any bill, any map.
Yeah. So as I asked you on the floor many times, along with our other colleagues, so it's just coincidental that they just happen to be the same map?
Mr. Chairman.
No.
Senator King.
I think he meant to do that.
No, it's not coincidental at all. I studied the House map, watched some of the hearings, had asked
Oh, really?
our legal
JD's
counsel
in the Indiana
to
State
review
House.
the House
Wow.
map to determine if they agreed
he's
that
a
it was
busy little
legal in
bee.
all respects, and decided it was a good map, better for Texas, better for the nation, and that's why I decided to
Better
go
for the
ahead and
nation?
file it.
What is that?
Well,
By
thank
whose
God.
count?
Senator Miles.
Yeah, show us your work. Thank you,
God
Grace Lisa. That's it.
In this
Cover the
particular
couch.
special session for rigged districting, it's not going to pass the House. It's going to be dead on arrival. We'll be here again for the next special session.
That's an
for rigged
awful nice
districting.
couch you have there, Governor.
But, Mr. Chairman, just a little bit more. Why are you further wasting taxpayers' times going through this motion?
I don't like.
Are you just fast tracking Trump's racist agenda to get?
Okay, I again, I defer to the members of legislature and their oratory. They know what they're doing. But I'm going to be honest with you. When Democrats do this kind of line of questioning, one part of me is like, this is good because you want that language very specifically in the record, right? Again, the record is very important historically, to me, this type of rhetoric and argument is not compelling, and that might just be a me thing. But I kind of wish that Democrats would be a little more really hard and specific and definitely call it for what it is. But there's something and I'm not going to phrase this well, but there's something in the way Democrats sometimes come at Republicans, which only serves to put them on the defense and doesn't land for me. Again, this is just a me thing. It could land for a lot of other people, but for me, it doesn't really land because it just puts them on the defensive. Where I don't know if we need to, I don't believe we need to do that. I don't think they should be on the defensive. I think it's just a matter of pointing out, almost clinically what this is. But again, okay, it's just a me thing, and I'm being hypercritical, and I don't mean to be, because this is life or death for people, and I understand that.
His approval, so that we can, put it back on, and say, he can say to you, "Good job, Senator King. Good job, Senator King," because we all know that now that the House is gone,
yeah, I struggle with how to
the
describe
Senate
it.
floor map, as we see it right now in this particular session, was going to die.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator King.
So I think your question is, knowing that the House has broken quorum, that the House Democrats have left the state, knowing that, why did I bother to go ahead and have this hearing now? I'll say that I thought about that a lot, but we don't know for sure. I think the last count I saw, they had 94 members present. They only needed 6 more to have a quorum. And so I thought if we went ahead and moved this bill forward, the House already has a bill on the floor. It's already through calendars for HB4. And if they come back that that they could expedite, and we have sent this bill to them, that the House could then simply, in the last days of the special session, pick up SB4
Straightforward,
and
aggressive.
substitute it for HB4 and pass it out. So I just used the same strategy for procedural strategy that you've used 100 times on 100 bills, is looking for any possibility to get your bill passed. Yeah. And that best possibility said move
It's
this
the green
one forward
jacket.
so that if the
And
House
too much chlorine.
does reach a
She must
quorum,
swim.
and that they can, that the Senate bill would be over there for them to pick up and pass
Although
out.
the whole thing has kind of a green patina to
know,
it, I will
Senator
say
Miles,
that. The
Thank
whole
you, Chairman. You know, we as a
broadcast.
Texas Senate, I remember back when we used to take pride, a lot of pride, colleagues. I want y'all to hear this. I remember when we used to take a lot of pride in standing against the federal government telling us what to do here in Texas. Those are some good old days. But here we stand today doing exactly what the president's orders the governor to put us up through. You know, it's kind of like the president told Governor Abbott to jump, and he asked how high. It's ridiculous because we had some rich days in being able to tell the federal government what we weren't going to do that they told us to do, Senator Hughes, Senator Paxton. And that's when we stood for something. We stood as Texans, independent, strong, free-minded, doing what's best for Texans.
It's all important to be on the record.
Instead of doing what's best for the President of the United States. You know, for those of you who are here waiting to testify, be not dismayed. Speak the truth. Please speak the truth. Tell this committee what redistricting is going to do to your communities. To the Democratic House members that broke quorum, keep the faith and keep your fight. This state needs your bravery, and this country needs your bravery. I'm in full support of the House members and their quorum break. Yes, Mr. Chairman, I went to Boston to support them. I would have gone to Chicago, New York, wherever. But this hearing was called, and if the citizens were going to come and testify, then damn it, I was going to be here to testify with them. Supporting their voices and making sure that they're heard. I'm here on this diocese for them and not for the President of the United States. The men and women of the House District Caucus decided to put the people of Texas first and lead the state by spreading the word of the injustices being done here and deny the legislation the ability to proceed with this racist map and these racist maps.
I didn't hear that, Lee, and Max had mentioned something about it.
And let me say this. Packing black folks into one district and reducing their ability to have representation from 2 to 1, and then hiding behind the premises, we are keeping Barbara Jordan's seat intact. And if you're doing us a favor, this is disrespectful, it's very much disingenuous, and point blank low down. Think that minority communities can take, if you think that minority communities must take and what we can get is discriminatory, you do not have to call someone a racist slur to be a racist, Mr. Chairman and members. Sitting back participating in an august process, in an inherently discriminatory process, disenfranchising black and brown people is racist in all parts. For those of us watching this from out of state, just know, as Texas goes, the country's gonna go. Texas may be the first to be redistrict or rigged district, but your state is next. Finally, for those of you who are watching, yes, the Republicans have stacked the deck. And the passage of this map may happen. But I want all of you to know who are watching, they want you to be discouraged. They want you to be dismayed. They want to give you a reason to stay at home on election, but don't let them do it. This is my call to arms for you. Your vote is your weapon. I repeat, your vote is your weapon. Show them how you get down. And you know how you get down. Make sure that these maps don't give them what they want. Take yourself, take your neighbor, take your friend, take your parents, take their family, take them all to the voting box. Show them who we are. And let them understand that you are Texans. And Texans, we stand for something. Together, we keep the faith, we keep the fight, and together, we'll win.
Okay, at this time, the chair would like to remind those watching and participating today that registration will close in a little less than 10 minutes. So if you have not registered yet and you plan to testify today, please get your registration accomplished at the kiosk just outside the hearing room.
What he does.
This room is getting full. We have overflow rooms as well for those participating. Audio and video should be playing live from that room. You'll hear if the chair calls you to testify. Our overflow rooms are E1016 and E1028. And if needed, E1036.
Attack the politics, not the person.
Anyone that needs
I do attack the
space
person
or to take
sometimes,
a
though. I
seat.
admit that. I
I
fail
also want to
miserably at
remind
that.
those participating and watching that any
not trying to
reactions
be
from the
pedantic.
audience is not allowed in our hearings. We have to make sure that everyone with us is respected. Everyone can see and participate and hear. And
Everyone has
so
to be
there
nice.
won't be any jeers or clapping or
No
reactions
jeers.
or
No jeering.
snapping, from the
Don't
audience.
jeer.
You'll hear some things today that you like.
Don't
You'll hear
jeer.
some things today
Yeah, he
that
put
are
razor water in the water. Yeah,
But
no,
help us
he's a
all and
terrible
everyone that's here
person.
be
Like, he
respected,
deserves all the
participate in
bad
process
things.
Without
Believe me.
interruption. At this time, the chair will open up public
Believe me.
testimony.
Chairman.
Senator Hinojosa.
Oh, J.
Thank you,
Rance,
Mr.
be
Chairman.
safe, baby.
I couldn't say it better than our colleague, Senator Miles, but just a couple of points and questions for our chairman.
Yes, you're recognized.
One of the things that I look as I saw the map, and I understand the goal of electing more Republicans. The reality is that the map, especially in South Texas, as you want to make it more compact, you're really dividing communities that have a common interest. For example, Hidalgo County is divided in half, maybe in three parts. The valley is certainly divided into three parts. So those are divisions that are taking place in terms of communities who have a common interest. In Oasis County, the county has been split also in half. So that's dividing our communities of interest. And I also know that you didn't look at any racial data, but I don't think that really matters. What matters is the result of that, and the result of that is discrimination against minorities, people of color. And the other comment I will make is, I know you went and pointed out about President Biden's administration, inflation, and what have you. I don't think that's useful for discussion here. I think we ought to just stay focused on the map that's before us, Senate Bill 4, and not get into all these other side issues that maybe we agree or disagree what President Biden did or didn't do, or what President Trump is doing or not doing. It would just stay focused on the map. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The chair would ask the clerk to show Senator Parker as being present, and Senator Hughes, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank each member. I thank each witness. We look forward to hearing from everyone, regardless of your position. And so, Chairman King, you talked about the motivation behind the bill, and redistricting is, I don't think, surely no one would dispute that redistricting is a partisan process. Always has been, always will be.
Well, but maybe it shouldn't be.
A democratic republic, and there are votes and there's majorities, and those decisions are made. But let me
It's not
ask
like
you,
the NFL
Mr.
draft.
Chairman King, you mentioned that There's a national discussion going on about this. Let me just ask you a couple of questions. Have you heard remarks by the governor of California and the governor of Illinois and the governor of New York criticizing this process and accusing us of being partisan and
Teresa
improper
says
in what we're
Jay's
doing?
ears are
Have you
here.
heard those comments?
Yes, a number of times.
I have too. Did you know that the state of Illinois
Yeah, it's a
currently
subtle
sends,
thing, butterflies.
17 members of the U.S. House. So of those U.S. House members, 17 of those are in Illinois.
I mean,
now, you probably know that
but,
current numbers show
sometimes
us that
a good dig here and there is really good, but
of the vote
I never
in
want to make
Illinois
them
is going to Democrats. 56%.
give them any kind of like
Did you know that of those
pity from their
17
base.
congressional districts in Illinois, 14 are electing Democrats? So that means though the vote is 56%, 82% of the seats are going to Democrats. Are you familiar with that?
I wasn't until a couple of weeks ago when all this started popping up, and I've seen a number of reports on different states, and it's that their districts are drawn in an exceptionally or severe partisan manner.
Senator, to your point, did you know that in the state of New York, where they have 26 members of the U.S. House, 26 in their delegation, Democrats get about 58% of the vote, but they have 19 of those 26 districts, 73%. And then perhaps the loudest critic and the one who's threatened to do more redistricting
wait a minute.
might be out in California.
Wait. But isn't that because people elected those representatives? And I know that means that, like, is there a discrepancy between who's winning and who's been district there? I don't get it. I mean, I do get what he's trying to say is like the Democrats do it too, so why can't we do it? Kind of thing. Which, may or may not be true. I mean, maybe redistricting needs to be rethought altogether. Gosh, anybody think of that? But the pretense that theirs is, race blind, their map is race blind, et cetera, is all bullshit just by evidence of what they have accomplished. And to Mr. Senator Hinosa's, if I'm saying that correctly, points, which I thought were very well made, you're cleaving communities in half, right? Like you're cleaving the communities in half. So shared interests, common issues and things like that. So I don't know what the answer is to districting, although I've always thought it could be much more simple, but whatever. I get it. The reason is because you do want to kind of create advantage. So maybe the answer isn't everybody gets to do it. Maybe the answer is we agree on a system that truly is, party blind. My county is cut in half by 2 districts. I mean, I don't even want to tell you. Like my district is really kind of like an L-shaped district. So, and it goes with population density, right? So the numbers that this Republican senator right now is spewing about, states like New York that have 73% of the seats, but 56% of the vote or something. I have a feeling there's a little bit of a boondoggle in there. I don't think that he's really comparing apples and oranges or apples and apples. So I think that that is probably not really an accurate way to put it. And again, this is why the language matters so much, unfortunately, is that what I've noticed is a much higher ability on the right to make a factually based argument that suits a particular political narrative. So it's like selective facts. And that's part of the disinformation problem. But it's a very subtle one, right? It's very subtle. So that's what I think my interpretation of what's happening here is that there would be subtle differences between the redistricting. Anyway, it's a thorny issue. Here we go.
I can't recall the governor's name, but the governor of California, California for
you
now,
don't know his
has
name.
a
That's
larger
so funny.
congressional delegation than we do.
He doesn't know
Of course,
yours
their
either,
population's
bitch.
shrinking, ours going up, but we're going to catch up to them. We're going to catch up to them
You're
if there's a
not.
fair census, unlike.
You know why? Because, he's going to talk about the census. You know why he thinks he's going to be all brave and say, Texas is going to be as good as California in just about a minute? Is because he has Elmo. Like, literally, these guys are high on the fact that all these billionaires, like Sam Altman is building a big-ass thing down in Texas. Elmo has lots of shit going on in Texas. Probably Bezos. You know, like, all these guys are really just taking over Texas. And so that's why this guy thinks he can flex against California. Sir, sit down. Take several seats. Thank you. Michigan has worked on creating an independent board of nonpartisans to work on redistricting. To be honest, I haven't followed it, but we voted on it. See, that sounds like it makes a ton of fucking sense to me. Meowingstar. And I would be very interested to know what are some of the components that make for a good redistricting process, right? Is it population? Is it, demographics? Like, what are the factors that would fit into a helpful redistricting or a districting plan, right? I don't know. I think that's really a good point. And I can understand, populations change over time, I guess. So redistricting might make sense in that regard. Although I still don't really understand why, because don't you basically just want a reflection of the people that live in that area? Let the chips fall where they may kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does it have to be manipulated? I know why it has to be manipulated. So you get power in your legislature or in the Congress overall. So I don't know. So many things are so complicated. Why is it so complicated? Why couldn't I have just taken up like crochet or something, eh? Why aren't I just on here doing like canning and stuff like that? I think I'd probably be dating, first of all, if I did something a little more girly on the internets. Lols. Yeah.
The 2020 census that undercounted Texas and undercounted red states, but that's another topic. But in the state of California, where about 62% of the voters are voting for Democratic candidates, they have 52 members of Congress, and 43 of those, 43 out of 52, 82%.
I think because of
are
population, sir.
Electing Democrats. I would note that they claim to have a nonpartisan redistricting commission there. Doesn't sound very nonpartisan to me. So a little context, Mr. Chairman, as we think about.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Hey, wonderful phrase. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. A little context. Like, I have a feeling the California situation, if I were pressed to just give an answer, like gun to my head kind of thing, I'd say it's because of population. Because the population centers could get hooked. That's a good one. Neil, you get that. It's probably because population differs widely in the state of California. You've got really large population centers across the state. You've got a lot of rural voters. You've got service industry. You've got manufacturing. You've got all kinds of different things happening in California. I could imagine a scenario where you end up with more Democratic representatives because of, and I don't know how he's measuring his, 56% vote or 60% vote Democrat. I don't know what that means, because there's like ballot measures and all kinds of shit that would measure that kind, because people vote differently between, down ballot, etc. So I think there's a lot of context missing, sir, with all due respect. And by that, I mean none. Yeah, they're based on population density. I would think that would be one of the primary reasons. Yeah. Yeah, don't we need another? I don't even know. So anyway, I'm just saying, this is the interesting part to me. So sorry to nerd out a little bit, but I nerd out on kind of like messaging and language and what words are these guys choosing to help influence their base, right? Because I don't need the senators' pretty words to be pro-democracy, fair redistricting that is taking into account communities and their needs. I don't need his pretty words are really inspiring to me, but they don't influence how I feel about the issue, because I'm always going to just look at the issue and say, oh, I need to understand this better. And that's the difference between me and a Republican. Is that the Republican then does things like this, where you kind of skate the surface, you pick a few, you cherry pick some numbers, and you present that as a reality. And that, to me, and that becomes pablum for the base, who then just take those key messages and go, what about Bill Clinton, kind of thing. That's the pablum that ends up in the what they really think and how they vote and all that kind of, or not vote or whatever. So I don't know. Sorry, I'm really on a roll today in terms of my little inner monologues. We're gonna call this the inner monologue episode. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm wasting time because I'm having fun. Okay, here we go.
The partisan approach to these maps.
And Senator King.
And I understand, I was speaking with someone from Massachusetts this morning, and they have 9 congressional members, and although they have a pretty substantial Republican voting bloc there,
totally
all 9
another
are
state.
drawn to be Democrat districts.
Totally another state that has large population centers and very rural populations.
In the mid-30s, almost in mid-30s of the vote, there are 0 Republican congressmen from Massachusetts.
0.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman?
Senator Miles.
So, Senator Hughes, what's your point?
Yeah, what is your point?
Senator, my point is that those
Is your point that you're angry?
Let me ask you a question.
We're going to have to keep. We're going to have to keep. Well, it's not okay if I'm still talking.
Okay.
We're going to have to keep order in the hearing so that our audience and those watching can follow succinctly
don't be
our discussions and our exchanges.
Don't be emotional, sir.
We're going to have to be patient. We don't have a shot clock on this hearing, so everybody's going to have their say.
Wait, a shot
Most
clock? What does that mean? Are we taking shots?
Here to testify. Senator Hughes.
Oh, the Penske
No,
truck,
thank you, Mr.
yeah.
Chairman. And Senator Miles,
I
thank
know,
you
I
for
heard
the
that
question.
butterflies.
A lot of our discussion has been about the partisan nature of redistricting and how those lines are reflected. And
They
there's
need
been a
some
lot of
PR, I
national
guess.
criticism amplified by people in Texas from other states and other state leaders criticizing this process for being partisan and suggesting that they do it in a nonpartisan way. Yet, Senator Miles, the results of their nonpartisan process yield hyperpartisan results, much more than Texas has today, much more than Texas would have even at the end of this process. I think that context from a partisan standpoint is important. That's my point. I hope I don't seem mad. I'm not mad.
Senator Miles.
So, are you saying it's okay for Texas to do because other states are doing it, but they're doing it in reverse?
I'm saying, Senator, that the thing, Mr. Chairman, I'm saying that the national voices that are criticizing this process and are being repeated around the state here need a little context. There's something that's important.
You know, I find
Senator Miles.
You know what though? Wait, and I'm missing a point here. I know I'm missing a point. But you know what's interesting about that argument is that if most of the representatives in a given state, or no Republicans won in a given state, right? Like in Massachusetts, he says there's no Republican senators or whatever. Doesn't that just mean that the Republican that ran didn't win? I guess the point is that if you put more of the Republican voters together, that Republican, I mean, that just seems so stupid, like even in any context. And I actually am not convinced that the Democrats do it in such a way that is so malicious versus actually reflecting the larger vote. Anyway. Maryland's trying to get rid of their gerrymandered districts in order to get rid of Andy Harris. I don't really know who Andy Harris is, but I imagine he's either good or bad. I'm really sensitive to nuance in speech and body language, and it is painful to watch sometimes. I agree with that. I'm also just fascinated by the use of language and just how a third of the country became so captured. Although I believe it comes down to kind of your fundamental beliefs in humanity, and I do think that's how people have been voting. So I think it's that the third of the country has some really poor worldviews. That's what I think. Or they're just not paying attention. Oh, Andy Harris is the perennial Chud candidate. Ah, thank you. More FBI agents are being purged. I put it in your DM. Oh, cool. I'm having a vodka with pink lemonade, and it's okay because I'm on vacation. Yeah, that's right. God damn it, Josh. Let's day drink. Hell yeah. Just don't drive. I love you. Take care of yourself. Have super fun. Get it out, girl. Party on. I'm going to get high as fuck today. How about that? Signs always everywhere around the out. Oh, interesting.
I find it very interesting.
Oh, he does too.
Very interesting that you're now saying it's okay for Texas to do it because other states are doing it, but they're doing it in reverse. And I've been in this building for 20 years now, and we've always stood tall as Texans. We've never compared ourselves to any other state in this country. We've never risen because the federal government told us to rise. Damn it, this is Texas. Okay, we're Texans. I really don't give a shit what goes on in the other community, in the other state. I just care about Texas. And the last time I checked, you represented community in Texas, like I'd have.
Mr. Chairman?
Senator Hughes.
Senator Miles, thank you. If national voices, if leaders in other states whose voices are dutifully magnified by many in the national media, if they're going to criticize Texas and hypocritically, in the height of hypocrisy, criticize us for what we're doing, a little context this morning. The Senator, that's not directed at you, as you know. I didn't have anything to say about your remarks.
Right.
That's about the national debate that we all find ourselves in.
But you just did.
But when did we as Texans?
Senator, we respond. We respond.
When did? Who's on?
Go ahead, Mr.
Miles.
When did we start responding and succumbing to criticism and peer pressure? Texas, we always apply to criticism and to peer pressure. That's who we are. I never knew that now we're so weak in Texas that we're succumbing to criticism. I'm done, Mr. Chairman.
This time we'll open up public testimony.
The House was set at a fixed number by the 1929 Permanent Apportionment Act. That's why it has grown from 435.
Amanda McLaughlin.
Since 1959, seats were added for
Janelle
Alaska and Hawaii.
Zuberbeer.
Thank you for that.
Is Janelle Zuberbeer here with us today?
I forgot.
Janelle,
I can skip ahead.
Please come forward. We were giving you time. No problem. No hurry.
District stretched far and add exclamation wants to move me into CD 10, which would be a district that stretches almost to Louisiana. That makes no sense. Austinites don't have the same concerns as people in East Texas. We deserve representation that represents and reflects our community. Meanwhile, my neighbor just down the road would get to remain in CD 37. So I called Representative Doggett's office to share my concerns.
It does.
The woman who
Have a
answered
seat.
listened to me, and she even laughed when I told her to add exclamation points to my comments. The next day, I got a call from Madison. Yes, I'm still naming her, because she is doing the real work for Doggett's constituents. She made sure I knew about the House hearing last week because she wanted me to be able to use my voice while I still have it. But if this map goes through, I'll have to call Representative McCall's office and they don't know me from anyone else.
I know. I actually love her
My voice will be
voice.
lost in
It's
a
sweet.
district stretched far and wide by design. Last week, I submitted my testimony online, I watched hearings, and I testified here at the Capitol. Over and over again, you were told no by Texans from across the state. On HB4 and SB4, we are united. We don't want this. I stand with the House Democrats. They are doing the will of Texans because they understand changing the rules in the middle of the decade is cheating. If you care about the Texans you are elected to represent, you'll vote no. Divorce yourself from the demands of the White House. They want 5 additional friendly seats in the House of Representatives to escape oversight.
Ms. West, we'll have to stop there. Thank you
No,
very
it
much for your
doesn't.
testimony.
It's just a pattern.
Go ahead, you may begin.
I'm Amanda McLaughlin. I'm speaking for myself. I've addressed many legislative hearings, and I've always tried to show respect even when I didn't agree. I will continue to show respect, and in fairness, I have gotten respect from like Senator Hughes and a lot of people, but I have also lost respect for many legislators. When did a legislator become about serving a destructive president and serving your own needs above that of your constituents? Everyone knows that this is to get the president 5 more seats. The cost for this is high. This cost is a cold heart that tries to silence many black and brown people and anyone that doesn't agree with the policy of fear, hate, and division. You will try to silence us, but you don't understand the depth of our resolve. I consider the representatives that broke quorum heroes, and I support them. They are trying to defend the democracy you are so determined to destroy. Even if you win this redistricting, you will lose eventually. You can only suppress people so long. People like myself are tired of being bullied and have decided to confront the bullies. No matter how much you try to scare us and beat us down. I'm a transgender woman. I'm tired of hearing about my friends moving out of Texas because they are afraid. For many of you, that is a statement will bring you joy. The joy you feel speaks to how sick this government has become. Fear and hatred now control the actions of many here. What happened to loving your neighbor? What happened to legislators serving their constituents? It is now acceptable to disappear immigrants without due process. Are you so heartless that you don't feel the pain to people and families? You deny children lunches while passing laws that 10 Commandments have to be displayed in classrooms. I'm a Christian, and that is not Christian behavior. How can you justify hurting so many people because they don't look or think like you? Diversity is beautiful. Please replace the fear and hate with love. For Texas, the people of Texas, and yourself, please do not advance SB4. Thank you.
Appreciate your testimony.
First of all, I love Texas, and my mom's buried there. She grew up there, and we spent a lot of time in San Antonio. And for me, it is the government of Texas that is the evil force, and it's just captured a beautiful place. This woman is so brave because, please correct me, chat, if I'm incorrect, but I believe the law against existing as a trans person in Texas, there's going to be some laws against, and I need to do my homework on exactly, but I believe September 1st, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll get more information about that. But I'm telling you, like, it is, Texas is so hostile. I mean, the entire country is hostile towards trans people, but this state in particular is such a hostile environment. And for someone to put themselves out there, and which I really appreciated what she said too, really, and the First Lady, I love, they really put together their comments very well. This is the part of like politics that I love. This kind of like when you really get to hear from people that can really capture the moment, and they're just like regular people. They're not elected officials or anything like that. This is democracy. And that is just such a beautiful thing. So I don't know. It's just really, Texas is a beautiful and surprising place sometimes. but it is really increasingly one of the most dangerous places as well for people that we love. Oh my God. Can people just like love each other and just mind their own fucking business? Is that possible? No? Okay.
Bonnie, may begin.
Thank you, Chairperson and members, for allowing testimony today. I am a proud union member of the Communication Workers of America, a single mother of biracial daughters, and a U.S. Army veteran. I'm also a Gen X woman who remembers walking in protests and rallies as a youth, fighting for the rights of all, and continuing the fight for my daughters and future generations to not be marginalized. To see that you are more worried about rigged districting only because Trump told you to.
If I could interrupt you, if you could state your name for the record.
I apologize, Janelle Zuberbier. To see that you are more worried about rigged districting only because Trump told you to than you are about the things we have been through recently. But no, you want to spend more time to create this crooked, gerrymandered, rigged districting map that is even worse than the current one we have, and that still has current litigation ongoing, instead of taking care of the issues that matter to Texans. This brazen move increases Republican representation by taking it away from communities of colors is shameful and racist. Texas has a long history of rigged districting against voters of color in the district maps. The racial gerrymandering in Texas has the aura of apartheid era white minority rule. But in Texas, whites like me are approximately 40% of the population, but control approximately 70% of the congressional districts. And in Dallas-Fort Worth area, where whites are only approximately 20% of the population, but have approximately 80%
There's a link for more
of the seats.
information.
Why would you do this to the people of Texas? Government works best solving the problems of ordinary people like me, a living wage, good public schools, and accessible, affordable, quality health care. We need to get politicians out of the map building process. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Josh.
you for your testimony. The chair would like to
Riverboat Jack
remind the
channel
committee
is
that,
great for trans rights
registration is
information.
now
Oh,
closed.
fabulous. Thank you.
Mr. Wilmer will begin with you at this time. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. Chairman King and Vice Chair Creighton and the members of the committee. My name is W. T. Wilmer. I'm a proud Texan, a father, community leader, serving currently Harris County Municipal Utility District 248, and candidate for the Congress in the 9th District. I come before you today not just as a candidate, but as a citizen deeply concerned about the direction of our state and this country. Senate Bill 4 and the redistricting process as a whole is not just about maps.
There's a
It's about
link in the
power,
channel.
accountability, and the sacred right of voters to choose who represents them. Let me be clear, I support fair and constitutional redistricting, but I also believe the process has too often been hijacked, not by policy, but by politics. When your colleagues fled the state to avoid voting on the issues critical to Texans, they not protect democracy. They protected seats. They protected feelings. In doing so, they turn their backs on the very people who elected them. People who expect their leaders to show up when it's hard. Redistricting should never be driven by racial fear tactics, unfounded accusation of discrimination meant to shut down an honest debate.
Unfounded?
But that only delays
Sir, have you been in
our real
Texas long?
progress. Texas is changing, yes, but that change should be embraced, not manipulated. Our voters are smart. They're engaged. They deserve the opportunity to decide what's best for themselves, not to those decisions shaped behind closed doors or avoided through walkouts or staged media moments with our out-of-state governors. To Senator Boris Miles, and as well as Senator Carol Alvarado, who's not here today, I say this respect and conviction. This process isn't about you, isn't about me. It's
No,
about
they
the
know
voters.
that. They know it's not
Let's
about
stop
them.
preserving political careers and preserving the people.
Okay, I'm going to stop him because I don't want to listen to him anymore. Let me tell you why that's important. Why what the House Texas legislators, why them leaving the state and breaking quorum is so important. Is because this is a breaking glass moment of many breaking glass moments, by the way, where they needed to do something drastic to bring attention to what was happening in their state. So it isn't about them. They're actually doing it because it's not about them, because it's about the people that they represent. Yeah, exactly. It seems Texas voters would have tried to change things, but they run into obstacles trying to vote Democrat. Exactly. So I understand, but you know that those all sound like a lot of feelings, and not really based on. They lack context, I guess. No, they actually lacked fact. They lack facts. All right. Well, I'm going to actually leave this Senate session for now, unless people are really like super into it, because I'm going to kind of go on to some. I want to just get in a couple of. Well, actually, do I need to, or can we just go on with it? Maybe we'll listen in for a little more because I don't think I have. I just want to talk about the Pacer system being hacked. Oh wait, I've got the ditty from the ladies. Maybe we could do that instead of just watching that guy for a minute. Thanks to Max and thanks to Teresa. Teresa found a clip and sent it to me. Max identified it. Here we go. Hell yeah.
In a sleazy kind of way. You don't want us to have a look on a presidential day. It ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, and it ain't gonna go away. You can fire more people, you can try to distract, but it ain't gonna work this time. There's lots of pages you'd like to redact while you're slipping with the slide. It ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, and it ain't gonna go away. You can go to Scotland, you can go play golf, you can go to war today. You can point your finger at everyone else, but it ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, and it ain't gonna go away. We won't stop singing till we see those names in a book we want to read. The victims all deserve that till we root out each bad seed. It ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, and it ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away.
It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, but it ain't gonna go away. Yeah, yeehaw. Woohoo! That's right. Excellent. Oh, what a nice little cleanser. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Max. I'll make sure that link gets in the chat. The chitty chat. Okay, let's go back. Oops, wrong one. Just kidding. I don't know if I want to hear what he's going to say, but that's okay.
People's voice.
I'll give him a minute.
But let me speak from the heart, Brother Miles. I understand the fear. I understand the concern in real time.
Do you?
In 1992, my sophomore year in high school in Baton Rouge, you all here at Ann Richards, we had to decide on David Duke. There's a talk that someone, maybe even a white nationalist or a Duke ex-gay, might try to exploit this new district as a knife to try to run it right now. I understand where you're coming from, but I trust these voters here in Texas. and I trust him.
Mr. Wilmer,
Thank you.
we'll have to stop there to make sure everybody has the same amount of time. Thank you.
I'm going to
Members,
spend
any
another
questions
17
for
seconds
panel
explaining to you what you already know.
Thank you. Appreciate each of you.
Thank you.
Dun, 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 dun.
At this time, the chair will go ahead.
Hello, my name is
Perfect
Chloe
timing.
Wilkinson. I am the Secretary of Texas Young Democrats. I'm going to repeat some points from my House committee hearing speech, but first let me just say to the Senate Democrats, thank you for your support with House Democrats breaking quorum. We need them to know that they are
Texas,
supported up and
you're
down
fucking fired
from
today.
across the
Okay,
state
can
by
I tell you
everyone.
that? Representation.
But let me just
fucking love
talk
you.
about why this redistricting is especially bad for Austin. I have lived in Austin for 4.5 years now, and I have 7 years of campaign experience. So I do sort of know how this is going to affect us from a field and constituent service perspective. First off, there was mention that these maps are compact, but when you look at the districts that represent parts of the greater Austin area, like CD10, CD11, and CD27, those are not compact districts. If you put them in a circle, they would not even constitute 25% compactness. Secondly, I really want to point out that we talk a lot about different racial groups are not monolithic. Why is it that the only congressional district that was majority white that voted Democrat is suddenly gone now? Also, CD37, if you look at it, it is 50% Hispanic, but in reality, because West Austin is completely segregated and is rich white people with a 17% higher voter turnout rate, it is in reality a white district that looks like a Hispanic district. So I really want us to realize here that this map may have been drawn race blind, but it is in fact going to hurt communities of color. Thank you, and I'm happy to take questions.
Fuck yeah.
Appreciate your testimony.
Fuck yeah.
Hi, good morning, committee. My name is Daniel Stewart Kelly. I'm speaking for myself. Today, I'm conflicted because Texans experienced an enormous loss of life on July 4th due to a natural disaster that we could have been better prepared for. Now could be an excellent opportunity to bring Texans together and solve big problems. One of those problems is that Texans believe that the congressional maps have been designed to break communities apart, and they're not wrong to think so. This proposed congressional map violates the principle of preserving communities of interest, and it tears through the southeastern Travis County community of Del Valley, my community. Texans don't believe that our congressional maps fairly represent our communities, and Texas Republicans are now acknowledging that there is a problem with our maps. So we agree, Texans agree, we can be using this time to pass legislation that many Texans want, legislation that would establish an independent redistricting committee. Instead, we're here fighting MAGA Republicans from establishing a one-party state.
Meowingstar.
Many who have spoken have tried to appeal to the rationality of their Republican colleagues. I need to direct my words to Senate Democrats. My uncle was the general superintendent of the Church of the Nazarene. In the Church of the Nazarene, the general superintendent is essentially one of the 6 popes. Another uncle was president of the Nazarene Bible College. I share this to establish my credibility as a former Christian nationalist. I've been in the room with leaders in the Christian nationalist movement. Democrats, please look at your Republican colleagues. The eyes that are either looking back at you or avoiding your contact see you as soulless enemies. These are people capable of looking you in the eyes and telling you they love you, and in the same breath will sentence you to hell. Get out.
Say it.
You must get out. You are not working with people who are here in good faith. I need you to know that these are people who have a depraved indifference to democracy. They intend to annihilate democracy and establish a theocracy. You are attempting to work with people who are fundamentally different from us.
Thank you.
Don't mess with Texas.
When I watch The Handmaid's Tale and recoil at the scenes, they salivate.
I got to get a Handmaid's Tale
This is the world they
outfit.
want to.
I'll tell you why. Ooh.
We have to stick with our allocated time frame or it's disrespectful to the other witnesses. Thank you. Yes, please, go ahead. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Josh and Meowingstar. I'm a deputized voter registrar, community advocate, and proud public servant for the people in Houston, Texas, Harris County, especially in Congressional District 9 and 18.
But on
I stand
the
for the people,
historical
the real
record.
ones. We want maps. We want
So
real maps.
important.
We want access to the ballots. We want leadership, and we want to fight for what's righteous and not for against us. Nothing for against us.
ISB.
HB4 is just another chapter in the same tired playbook. We saw this similar back in 2021, where they rolled out the Senate Bill 1, SB 1. That made it harder for the people to vote, especially the seniors with disabilities, the folks with language barriers, the Black and brown communities, and the ones just trying to survive. As I spent so much time educating and informing individuals about the questioning, I see the concerns in their faces and their voices, and somehow they have some sort of confusion and intimidation regards to this bill. But you guys want our votes all the time. Y'all are steady asking for our votes. We're tired of knocking and asking to be let in. We're tired of begging. We're tired of this. Now, at this time, we're not asking. We're just going to go ahead and kick it down. Our neighborhoods, our kids, and everything are being affected. So let me make this clear and let me make this loud. I stand against HB4, I stand against gerrymandering, and I stand against voter suppression and intimidation. And let's make this clear, we're not backing down and we're just getting started. Thank you.
Appreciate your testimony. Each of you members, any questions? Thank you. The chair will now call Nicholas Little.
Was in communities of color.
Go ahead.
My name is Veronica Worms, and I am a policy attorney representing the Texas Civil Rights Project against SB4. This map is a blatant attempt to rob Texans of color of their political power. Despite the fact that 95% of Texas's population growth was in communities of color, the 2021 maps did not produce additional opportunity districts for Texans of color. This proposal makes an already discriminatory map that is still being litigated even worse. If it were implemented, white Texans who comprise only 40% of the population would control 79% of the congressional delegation. Texans know an unfair system when they see one. The district lines here cannot be explained away on partisanship. As the Supreme Court noted in Bartlett v. Strickland, a state intentionally destroying effective crossover districts raises serious constitutional concerns. The DOJ's letter, while completely misstating the law, cited impermissible racial considerations in 4 majority-minority districts, not a quest for partisan advantage. What the legislature delivered with SB4 is a map that brazenly and intentionally cracks historic majority-minority districts, including court-ordered BRA districts, and then packs other minority groups into tight urban areas to dilute their political power. That is targeted racial discrimination, plain and simple. The lengths the state has gone to deny Texans fair representation in this redistricting farce are staggering. The Supreme Court has said that redistricting mid-decade to replace a court-ordered map is allowed, but that's not what's happening here. The House had only 3 regional hearings to encompass the 30-plus million Texans spread over more than 268,000 square miles. Only 5 hours of public testimony were allowed per hearing, so only a max of 150 Texans could speak. Less than 48 hours after the last regional hearing, this map appeared. The Senate had 4 virtual hearings where, again, the vast majority of witnesses opposed this out-of-order redistricting, and the exact same map was filed. Its drafters clearly disregarded the public's testimony on the impact of redistricting on their communities and their overwhelming opposition to this rushed redraw. We urge the committee to focus on disaster relief rather than creating a new disaster in this destructive and discriminatory map.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Very much. You may begin.
Hi, I'm Emily E.B. French. I represent Common Cause Texas. I'm far from the first to share my disappointment that this legislature is putting gerrymandering over disaster relief, but I also believe this legislature is making future disaster relief harder with gerrymandering. Right now, we're sitting in CD 37. Under a new map, we'd be sitting in CD 10. This Capitol complex would share a U.S. House rep with students at Texas A&M, 87 miles away, the people of Centerville, 124 miles away, and the people of Segno, 183 miles away. But under this proposed map, if I walked 1,000 feet to Texas Chili Parlor, I would be in CD 37 again. Imagine that you live at the Capitol, which I'm sure is not hard for many members of this committee, and a natural disaster strikes. Let's say that the power goes out, my phone has like 15%, I only have enough juice to call my congressional rep. I want to use this constituent services to find resources, locate warming or cooling centers, and connect with other folks who are helping out near me. If my friends at Texas Chili Parlor have to walk over, these maps would force them to get help from a different
I don't know,
representative.
Lee. That's a good question.
By drawing our communities apart, you're making it harder for neighbors to help each other. If my cousins in
I don't
Pflugerville
think
need help, these
Dump
maps would force
expected
them to
this.
call a
No.
different third representative in CD11, who would also represent our uncle 65 miles away in Llano, the people of San Angelo 180 miles away, and Midland 283 miles away. Pflugerville is 14 miles away from the Capitol. This map has Pflugerville in with Midland and the Capitol in with Segno, and Midland is 430 miles away from Segno. That is 11 and a half Rhode Islands laid end to end. I believe the chair and I have different
I love
definitions
data.
of the word compact. I'm a lifelong Texan. I was born in Houston, where hurricanes constantly happen. I was raised in Tornado Alley. I now live amongst freezes and floods in central Texas. When natural disaster strikes, I lean on my neighbors and they lean on me. This map makes it harder for Texans to help each other. Please do not pass it. Thank you.
Mr. Little.
Good morning. First, giving my regards to the chair, Vice Chair, my state senator, Senator Boris Miles over here. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here. I'm here. I represent the Houston branch NAACP. I am also a Navy combat veteran, graduate of the United States Naval Academy, class of 2008, and I'm a Texan. And I'm here because I'm here advocating and speaking on behalf of the constituents and the people of Houston who feel like they are voiceless or feel as if, if they're not at their table, that they're on the menu. And I think it's imperative that we take notice to realize that the constituents, the people, are the people that we're supposed to be listening to, not the federal government. Otherwise, we have no state sovereignty. And it concerns me, and it concerns many of our constituents and many in the room, that we are currently at a point right now where we are willing to listen to what's going on from somewhere else versus doing what's good for Texas, as stated by members of the committee. So I'm just hoping that today and going forward, that everyone here and everyone that's not in the chamber that are able to vote on this will make the right decision and do it based on the conscience of Texas and not on the conscience of anyone that considers themselves practically a king or anyone who is seemingly undermining our democracy. That is not why I served my country for 10 years. That's not why many people in our community fight to be elected to office.
I have a link
just bow
for us.
down to any type of tyrannical force at any person's will. We are here all as Texans, but more importantly, we are Americans. And that's what makes our country great. That's what makes our state great, is being able to realize and understand that this is who we are. So I just want to ask that everyone here just really take in consideration all the testimonies being given, all the testimony that will be given, and just please keep in mind that as Texas, we've always stood strong, and it
There's
is
the
imperative
turnout
that we
data.
maintain that stability, and we maintain that to represent that across the country as well. Thank you.
We appreciate each of you and your testimony. Thank you for your service to our nation, Mr. Little. Senator West, we welcome you to the committee today and appreciate you joining us, and you're recognized if you have a question for Mr. Little.
I don't know that it's for Mr. Lolo. It may very well be for the author of the bill, based on the testimony of this panel. In terms of deliberating on exactly what's taken into consideration in recommending this bill or amendments thereto, how will the testimony received by the committee, by people that have taken their time out to express their opinion on the bill,
This is a good question.
be utilized?
I am a data hoe. I am. I'm hot for data.
Is that a question for me?
Is that, are you?
Yes.
Is that directed at me as
No,
currently, or
the
Senator
author,
King?
author of the bill, Senator King.
Senator King.
Okay.
Did you understand the question?
I think so.
Let me make sure you understand
Okay,
it.
please.
We've had, and I've been listening to the testimony, and we've had hundreds of people testify on this particular bill. 205. And it would seem, based on what I've gleaned, most of them have testified against this process and now also on this particular bill. And my question is, in terms of what your recommendation is going to be on this particular bill or amendments requested, how will the testimony of citizens that have taken their time to testify be taken into consideration?
Certainly.
Mr. King.
Thank you. And as to amendments, we'll just look at each amendment independently, and those decisions will ultimately be made by I guess it'd be floor amendments, and they'll be made by the 31 or 30 now senators on the floor. They'll make that decision in a vote on each amendment. I would say as to how his testimony taken into account, I think each senator represents their roughly 1 million people in their district, but they also represent the state as a whole. And I think each senator will.
In all due respect, that's not the question I asked about the other senators.
Well, Senator West, let him complete his thought because he may end up at that destination.
You may end up, okay, all right.
I think I'm getting there. But I was just going to say each of us will take into account all the information put before us, our personal analysis of the bill, what we believe that our district wants, I think, and the testimony that was provided, both
what our
in the
district
Senate
wants,
and
we think.
probably in the House too. I watched some of the House hearings, and contacts that we're getting from constituent calls and emails and letters, and I think we'll
there you go.
I would expect we
Okay,
would all
so
take all of that.
if you live in a gerrymandered district in Texas, he just invited you to call your senator and let him know how you feel about the bill, because apparently there's impact from the number of people who call in favor or against a bill. So you know what to do, Texas. Blow up those phones. Let them know how you feel. I mean, Steve said it, or he may not be a Steve King, but Senator King said it.
That into account in making our decision on how to vote on any amendment or on the bill itself.
Okay,
Senator West.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I was referring to you, not everybody else. I mean, as the author of the bill, you are going to have to make a determination as to what bill actually comes to the floor for consideration. And normally what we do in this process that I've been involved in for a long time now is that we listen to the testimony, and based on the testimony, we take the bill, end up having a substitute and things of that nature based on the testimony that we hear. And so I guess the question I'm asking is not as it relates to other senators, but more specifically as to you as the author of the bill. Are you going to take into consideration that hundreds of people that have testified showed up at these particular hearings in deciding what bill and or substitute that you will bring to the floor? And if so, how will you do that?
Senator King.
Well, my intent is as chair to bring the bill up at the conclusion of testimony today for a vote before the committee, and to recommend that the committee favorably report the bill to the Senate. And then if it passes out of the committee, and if it's brought to the floor, then it would be my intent to recommend to the floor that we support the bill.
Okay, so the testimony that you've heard over these few weeks has been loud and clear that this process is not favored by Texans, correct? And the testimony that I've heard so far today is that this map is not favored by Texans. You will not take that into consideration in terms of making a recommendation to the committee and or to the Senate. Is that correct?
Senator King.
So much of the testimony that I've heard, and I've taken it all into consideration. One of the things that pushed me toward this particular map, a great deal of the testimony has been that the existing map is not as compact as it could be. And I believe this map takes strong steps in that direction. We discussed earlier before you got here.
He's just not even classifying the testimony correctly.
35 are very good examples of
wow,
that.
the delusion is really
So
deep.
I believe it reflects the testimony that we've seen in that regard. I also believe
he's taking their
that
consideration
most of the
into
testimony
account
that I've heard
as
has
for
been-
how
has been
he
with regard to
much he
racial
wants to
considerations.
punish them. Yes.
And I think it's totally inappropriate to take racial considerations into account when drawing a map. I think
Unless
that's,
and until they
not
are
preferred by the
white.
law, to say the least.
Because
And
the
I think it would be
white
inappropriate.
people
And so I think much of all the
want
testimony
to
that's been
make
accusing-
sure that
suggesting
they
that
have
this map was drawn on a racial
preference
basis is inaccurate and
for my
incorrect.
office.
And so I'm disregarding that part of the testimony because I didn't take race into
Oh.
account and I don't see race in
Oh.
this map.
Okay, and
Oh. Oh. He is taking the testimony into account. It's just the fact that they said it was race based, and he's like, no, it isn't. Nuh-uh. Should I call my senator and tell him I'm a Republican and what they are doing makes me want to change my party's affiliation to independent and going to vote for a Dem? Oh. I mean, that could happen. That could be true. Anyway, yeah.
understand that.
Senator West.
Thank you very much.
It's when
Mr.
they
Chairman.
say it out loud, you
At
know.
all due respect, when you begin to look at the map itself and take into consideration not just the map, but the whole process, 2021, we had a map that the Attorney General in the state of Texas is defending in federal court right now. And then we get a letter. Trump says that he needs 5 seats from Texas. And then we get a letter from the Department
Okay,
of Justice. I think it's
I'm open,
chronological.
Carla. DM me.
Then all of a
Let's
sudden,
do it.
There's no map, because I've
Let's
asked you
do it.
about maps, and then
Yes.
a map shows up in the House. Then we have the quorum, the parliamentary use of quorum breaks in order to stymie the efforts, and then another map is filed over here. I think that's the order of the events. People have testified against these maps, against the maps in the entire process, and the only districts that end up, frankly, for the most part, being cracked and packed are minority districts. More specifically, I'll give you an example: the district in Dallas, and I hadn't looked at the maps in a while.
What if you
All
just say,
economic
I'm thinking
engines
of
have been
changing to
taken out
independent?
of the district in Dallas for some strange reason. Can you help me understand that?
I'd have
Senator
to ask
King.
you, I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'd have to ask you to be more specific.
That relates to what district or what?
Well, what
And I want spots for
economic engines,
van
what
life
district,
in
what
our
congressional
land,
members?
Carla.
Okay, Jasmine Crockett, her district.
Okay.
It's, as I understand it, and I stand to be corrected if necessary, the airport, downtown area, the medical center, law schools, and all that have been taken out for some reason. And if race is not a consideration, why would that happen?
Well, I know I represent Tarrant County, and even though Lockheed is across the street from my district, I still aggressively represent Lockheed. And I don't think because you've moved
There
a
you go.
hospital
That's
district,
fine.
or you've moved a district outside a hospital district, if it's
Yes,
if it's
and
still
I
in her
want.
primary
I
county,
have a
s-
book
I assume
about what
she's
to
going
think
to
about when you're
continue to
buying land.
represent
I'm
that as
reading it right now.
aggressively as she would otherwise. Downtown Fort Worth is not in my district, but I'm actively involved in representing and being supported by.
I fucking love
businesses
this
and
idea.
folks in the downtown area. So I don't think you can draw a line like that and say because the hospital district's no longer in her district that she's not going to be working for and representing that hospital district.
So you agree with me that that should not be a partisan consideration, right? In terms of whether or not you move or don't move a hospital district or a downtown area. And so in drawing maps, you shouldn't take into consideration moving economic engines of a particular district to accomplish a partisan result. You would agree with that, based on what you just said?
I don't.
Senator King.
I don't think that's what I just said. I think what I said, you asked me specifically about her district. I think that, as I said earlier, that you should not take, that I did not take racial factors into consideration. I think that the map is more compact than the existing map. I think that it achieves the objective that at least I had of performing better from a partisan perspective for Republicans. And I think that that it is drawn in a manner that's going to continue to allow members of Congress to represent their districts and the areas surrounding their district like we all do. As I said, I'm Tarrant County, and I try to I only have about a third of Tarrant County, but I try to represent all of Tarrant County and help, and the other senators in the in Tarrant County do the same thing. And I believe this map takes into consideration what is traditional redistricting criteria. And I think it's a very supportable map.
Okay, and Mr. Chairman, and I know this committee is laboring because I've been on this committee several times before myself, and I'll have extensive questions for you on the floor because you weren't really responsive to the question that I asked, to be honest with you. But because again, I asked about the partisan piece in terms of taking economic engines out, and if it's not a partisan issue, then why were they taken out? Okay, I mean, just because you have economic engines like downtown Dallas, the medical district, law schools, and things like that, you don't need to take those out of a minority district in order to establish and to accomplish your goal of increasing partisanship in the state of Texas. But yet and still, that's what was done by the map drawers. Speaking of the map drawers, did you draw this map, or who drew the map?
Senator King.
Okay, I've adopted HB 4. My understanding was traditionally the way it's worked is the congressional delegation usually has someone draw a map. I believe, I think I'm correct in saying in 2021, the Redistricting Trust, which is an organization that's involved in redistricting across the country, they helped draw the map for the Republican congressional delegation in 2021. My understanding is that the Redistricting Trust drew this map as well as others, and this was the map that was adopted by the House.
Okay, so the Redistricting Trust drew this map.
I think they participated in drawing the map, is my understanding.
Did you have any input in drawing the map?
None at all.
Okay, so it was given to you?
No.
Well, let me finish. It was given to you, and you were asked to carry this particular map without you having any input into what the impact of this map was.
Senator King.
No, not at all. As I've said repeatedly in the hearings and in caucus, that I considered drawing a map. I had been considering waiting for the House map to come over.
I just saw your comments. Oh my God.
No one ever handed me a map.
I'm an
I was
idiot.
not given directions on whether or not
I apologize.
on any map to take.
I'm going to stop and address it because it's really it's too much that and actually I just deleted the post so you can't see the original post. I just realized. Well, that's okay because what I'm going to do is put up Meowingstar. So I put up this post this morning because when I opened Blue Sky, this is called a learning opportunity that I'm about to admit, and I think that I just want to thank Meowingstar because I really like it when people when I learn. And it's funny you say this, Meowingstar, because I literally had a little bit of a feeling like I don't want to shame anybody. But the one thing I was, so I saw this post this morning, and it was basically a post on Blue Sky, and it was a woman with a well-endowed chest, not naked, but well-endowed. And she's a sex worker in Australia, I think, and was promoting services on her Blue Sky. And my reaction was more to the graphic. But what I did is I put up and I was like, Blue Sky, what are we doing? Are we X now? That was the the whatever behind it, which, and as Meowingstar points out in in their response, forgive me for the gendering too, but this actually is really the right response. And I am very sorry because I support sex workers and support trans rights and didn't know the history of Blue Sky in relation to featuring trans and sex worker exclusionary, turf approaches, excuse me. I didn't understand how that there was a history of that being supported on the platform and then et cetera. Sorry, I kind of mixed that up. So, I just want to be very, very clear on this point that I deeply appreciate you pointing out how my post was incorrect on the wrong side of that. And I want to read what you said because I think that it is very good for all of us. So I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. But let me read this. I hope you can see it. Sex workers, nudity, and the like were here on Blue Sky before the vast majority of users, especially among the trans and queer community. Anti-sex work is deeply seated unconscious bias in our culture, and there's a reason many trans activists say no turfs, no swerves. Trans sex worker, exclusionary, radical feminist. Like that's what's a massive amount of content on here that was literally built this site. It's like going into a red light district and getting mad at sex workers. Also, sex work is often one of the only ways many trans can survive in this country. Also remember that the GOP and many centrists consider all LGBTQIA plus content inherently sexual. It's why we warn about KOSA. Sorry, I'm not sure what KOSA is. Back to Blue Sky. This post isn't pornographic itself, contains no nudity or explicit content. Those are moderated. Should sex workers get banned, censored, or erased? Sorry, my screen is okay. Should we moderate content on onions? What if some people don't like onions, like never eat onions, like can't stand the taste of onions? Should Blue Sky moderate content about people selling onions? Yep, I look to this absurd because hopefully it'll give you a laugh and perspective. You are absolutely correct. And I'm kind of embarrassed because it definitely is not something that I would ever, that I don't believe in, first of all. And I definitely took the wrong reaction on it. And it wasn't even, anyway, I'm not going to try and explain it. I'm just going to say I am deeply sorry because that is definitely not something that I wanted to ever portray or support. So thank you. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So I deleted my original post, but I left your obviously I left your responses so that there's, Kids Online Safety Act. Right. Is that the Australian one, Meowingstar? Forgive me. Is that the one that just went into effect? Am I wrong about that? Maybe not. It's the USA. Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Forgive me. Yes, that's the fucking thing that Melania was promoting or something like that. Okay. I think there was also some legislation recently in Australia, although I could be wrong about that, so I'd have to figure that out. Anyway, all to say, thank you, Meowingstar, and I am sorry, and I want to act in such a way as I believe. I would like to act in the way that I believe or am. So thank you very much. All right, sorry, thank you for that distraction. But I'll bring us back to the thing. Let me see here. Here we are. Here we go. Aren't there individual settings you can adjust on those platforms to things you don't want to see? It's not that I don't want to see it. No, I was just caught off guard by it. That's really, it has nothing to do with, I don't want to filter. I don't need to filter content. I just don't look at content that I don't want to look at. So that's not even the issue for me. I was just like, oh, I didn't expect to see it in the timeline. Anyway, I'm going to end up sounding even dumber than I feel right now, so I'm going to shut up. But I wanted to put myself on blast for that because I think it's good to be mindful and being like, walk your talk kind of thing. Anyway, here we go. Back to Texas.
As I watched the House hearings, I stated this earlier before you got here today, as I watched the House hearings, and as I looked at this map and I thought it was more compact than the existing map,
I'm very human. I'm very, very
to see if they came
human
to the same
and fallible.
Conclusion that the House Counsel had, that the map was legal under all applicable law. They reported back to me that it was. And then I filed the bill,
which is too bad because Idaho is really a beautiful place.
Rather than wait for the House,
it's really one of the prettiest states.
Because things
it's really
were
sad that
stalling
it's
in
been
the House,
taken over by assholes.
Procedural and way of passing legislation the same way you've done it 1,000 times over your decades in the House and the Senate.
Decades.
Okay. If you're working on a companion bill and the bill on the other side of the body begins to stall, then you will file it over here and try to get it moving.
Because it's okay to hold each other accountable.
That's exactly what I did. I decided that the House bill was a very good bill.
That's okay.
That it accomplished the purposes that I had in looking for a bill, looking for a map. And
it's full of Nazis, though. There's a lot of Nazis there.
When it stalled in the House because the Democrats left the state. And, my opinion is when things stall, then you try to find a way to move forward. And that's what I did and why I filed this map.
Senator West.
In closing, all due respect, I think that listening to public testimony here is just checking the box. That's all that's happening.
That's it.
The reality is that this testimony that is being given by citizens of the state of Texas is not really going to be taken into consideration, given the fact that you've already said that whatever happens in terms of testimony of citizens, you're going to make a motion today to approve this particular map and send it to the floor. That's what I heard you say. Is that correct?
Senator King.
Well, I would take the testimony of one person who's on this panel before us. The way I understood her testimony was that a map should be drawn from a percentage basis that directly reflects the racial makeup of Texas. And I do not agree with drawing a map on that basis. So in that regard, that
a lot of militia shit.
I would disregard because I think that's the wrong way to draw a map.
What about, Mr. Chairman?
Senator West.
What about communities of interest?
Senator King.
I believe this map being more compact than the existing map improves
That makes
communities
sense.
of interest.
Meowing Star. I remember Tumblr,
Well,
yeah.
I'll use District 32
Before they nuked.
and District 35 as examples.
I remember Bobo talking about the change in Tumblr.
And
You can't see what her.
District 35, for example, now begins.
I'm going to
in Bexar County.
I'm going to share her comments.
Takes extremely difficult jigs and jags as it progresses all the way up into northern Travis. District 35 under this map becomes very well-aligned communities of interest in the counties of Guadalupe, Wilson, Karnes, and what's a more rural area of Bear. And this is a much more compact district than the existing 35. And there's other examples throughout the map.
Mr. Chairman?
Senator West.
And so let's stay with Barron, because I don't know that much about that particular area other than I know San Antonio was there. And so you've taken urban communities, the urban communities of Bexar County, and aligned them with rural communities in Wilson and also Karnes County. Is that correct?
Well, it's much like my Senate district that takes parts of Fort Worth and then aligns it with the suburban areas of Parker County, which would be that area of Bexar County, I guess, would be more of a suburban area, and then connects it with, in my area, connects it with the rural counties that are to the west and south of that. And so that's just what you have to do in Texas because of the difference in population in our urban and rural counties. So you're always having to reach in and pick up some population. But what I'll tell you is just looking at the map, common sense tells you that a map that is compact, a district that is compact as opposed to one that is long and thin and jiggled and jaggled, that compact one is more compact. I don't know how else to put that.
Again, I'm talking about communities of interest. So when you did your analysis for that particular area to make a determination as to whether those were communities of interest, what did you take into consideration, if anything?
Well, I mean, generally speaking, an inner city area is going to have a little bit different primary issues before it than a suburban district might have, which will have a little bit different ones than what a rural area might have, although they all have overlapping issues. And so I think when you're trying to draw a map and you're trying to get 766,000 people into into 38 districts, you obviously you're going to have to draw districts that are outside, that reach into urban areas, but also extend into rural areas. And I think when you compare, in this case, District 35 as example, the existing 35 to the proposed 35, the proposed 35 in any common sense is more compact.
Is that
Senator West?
Oh, okay. And members, I apologize. I'll save a lot of these questions for the floor. But again, out of all due respect, I asked about community of interest. You talked about compactness. I understand what you're talking about with compactness, but the question is, what factors did you take into consideration to make a determination as to whether or not there were communities of interest?
Communities of interest.
Let me finish, sir. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
And so the question is that communities of interest, I mean, do people have the same types of, I guess you could say they go to the same churches? Are they, what elements of communities of interest that's been recognized by law did you take into consideration?
Well, it can be a lot of things. As you said, it can be the fact that this is that there's a River Oaks neighborhood.
In the 35?
I'm just throwing out a name of a neighborhood.
Well, I was talking about 35.
We'll call it Meadowbrook.
I'm talking about 35.
Okay.
I'll do respect.
No, you're not. No, it's not being with due respect.
Let Senator
I'm
King
trying to
answer
answer the
the question.
question. I'm trying to answer what you ask. What I mean by what I take into consideration in a community of interest,
Okay,
which is
fair
one
enough.
of the traditional redistricting criteria.
Exactly.
All right. It can be many things. It can be a historic neighborhood, okay, or it can be the regional water areas. It can be the regional transportation areas, the TxDOT zones. It can be the economic development areas. And I'll use as another example, my home county of Parker, a large percentage of the folks in Parker County drive to Tarrant County for work. So in that regard, there's a community of interest in the commuting, in the jobs that are provided in Tarrant County, and the families that live in Parker. Now, as Tarrant moves into Parker and more of that business moves into Parker, we share that economic base. So communities of interest can be anything, and particularly in a county the size of Tarrant. Now, when you look at 35, you see those large rural counties, and you also see a larger population base in the more suburban area of and less developed areas of Bexar County, and they're going to be more aligned from a community of interest standpoint than they would if you had picked inner city San Antonio.
So I just reshared it. I reshared Meowingstar's response on my Blue Sky because I think if my post goes away, her responses might go away.
And I'll also suggest that no one on
I don't
this
know how that
committee has
works.
offered amendments
So
to
anyway,
change
I just
that
went ahead and
district.
posted it.
And anybody is certainly available to, or has the option of offering amendment to change that district on the floor.
I mean,
But my
Idaho
point
is beautiful.
When I look at
It's just
it
a
is
lot of people
much
there
more
that are white supremacist
compact
militia
district.
bullshitters.
And compactness takes into account geography and all the traditional redistricting criteria. And any common sense look at it says it's a more compact, better designed, easier to represent from a driving distance
I love you.
for the
Thank you. I really
the
appreciate it.
congressional member. And it's just a better district all around in its geography.
Okay, it sounds like you've used the word compactness about 10 times. So it
Senator
seems like,
West.
Mr. Chairman, it sounds like you used the word compactness several times in your response to me. I appreciate your response, but it seems like compactness was the
How do you
number
say?
one
Did you say that Coeur
element
Coeur
that you
d'Alene?
took into consideration in drafting
Coeur d'Alene?
presenting this
Coeur
particular.
d'Alene, Idaho? I don't know how they
Members,
how the
any
locals say
questions
it.
for this panel? If not, thank you each for your testimony. Senator Miles, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator West, let me just answer your questions that you were trying to get answered as you exit. The gentleman's name is Adam Kincaid, who's out of Virginia, who wrote this map. And it's just coincidental that he runs the National Republican Redistricting Committee.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait,
he's done so
what?
for a while now, and he lives out of Virginia. That's
Wait,
who actually
what?
drew this map. And for the numbers, Senator, We had 205 today, as of today. And I'd be generous in saying that 5 of those were for the map and the 200 were against. Now today we've got 117 signed up against the map and 3 for the map. So now what the chairman's going to do with those numbers, that's up to him. You asked him that question. He's going to have to give you that answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Miles. We'll proceed with our public testimony.
Oh, that's right, Paul. I forgot you were up there.
The next panel, we
I mean,
will
that
call
far
the chair.
east. You were a
We'll
little
call
east.
again Anthony Gutierrez, Andre Wagner,
Let me pull up that story, Lee.
Nicolette Ardiente, Dylan Flahardy. You may begin, sir.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. I appreciate your time and allowing us to be here. My name is Dylan Flaherty. I'm here to represent myself. I'm also a candidate for Congress in Texas's 37th District here in Austin. I find myself incredibly frustrated with the purpose of this. There are far more pressing needs in Texas. Flood relief, public school funding, making lives for Texans better. And yet, we're bickering over partisan politics coming from the president. It's incredibly frustrating. I also want to call out something that I find incredibly disingenuous. The chair mentions that these maps are more compact, and he cites District 35 continuously. Yet, District 11 in the new map spans from Pflugerville to west of Midland. As I'm sure that Senator Sparks would understand, the needs of Midland and the needs of Pflugerville are far different. And so,
Moose
saying
are
that they're
very
more
scary.
compact,
Moose will crush your
allowing
car.
for easier drivability is a joke. Because it's a 6-hour drive from Pflugerville to Midland. Again, this is all coming from the President of the United States. And I don't understand, as Texans, why we're all of a sudden bending the knee to the federal government.
That must be
As
a really
Texan,
powerful
I
thing in
believe
Texas.
that we're Texans, that we stand above that. And as we sit here right now, the FBI has accepted to hunt down House members of Texas. And no one seems to be crying a foul to that. Now, if the roles were reversed, if this was the Biden administration or the Obama administration,
Just to cut time,
know
I
all of you
also
would be
I want to drop
screaming
the
from
link
the
of what
rooftops.
Lee
so I look at all of you today.
put in
and I ask
Discord
you to
about
reject this measure.
BB and his fucking war criminal
To imagine if the
tour
roles were
de
reversed,
force.
what would you say? Because this isn't democracy. You're not allowing us to choose our representatives. You're choosing your voters.
Hello.
Go ahead. Yes, you may begin.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. Good morning. My name is Nicolette Ardiente.
Yeah, I guess so.
I
That's
am
true.
here representing myself.
should be more
and the
Scary
State
Moose movies.
Democratic Executive Committee of Congressional District 23. I'm on the outskirts of San Antonio that goes all the way to El Paso right now. And like many of y'all, I do also have constituents that I report to that come to me regularly and ask me about, like, hey, what are the issues that are happening, not only with the Democratic Party, or how can I get in contact with my representative? Their issues, again, from San Antonio to El Paso, range so differently, from Del Rio to Maverick County, Eagle Pass, to Crystal City, Zavala. Like, these are all rural towns. And I've heard so many folks on this dais talk about CD 35 in Bexar County. Respectfully, you do not live in Bexar County. You don't know the issues that impact us in Bexar County. Yet you want to refuse to hear the public testimony of Texans who, like working class Texans, wish they could be here in front of y'all to talk about why redistricting, redistricting is so impactful to them. But they're not given that opportunity. They have to work. They have to make sure their kids are getting ready for school next week. But y'all are not giving every single Texan that opportunity. And as the gentleman mentioned, being frustrated is almost like, that's almost like we carry it with a pride as Texas now, because we don't have the representation that we truly deserve. Again, from San Antonio to Del Rio
That
to
would freak
Eagle
me out,
Pass, all
Meowingstar.
over Southwest Texas, we have,
'Cause they're just so
I have
big.
constituents who are constantly asking for help.
Bison,
If you
big,
want,
huge.
you could split up Congressional District 23, but nobody wants to talk about that because that's a solidly Republican district. I really want to see leadership that shows up for Texas, and I do commend
It's
all
like
of the
the
Texas
power of
Democrats that
nature,
have
right?
fled the House, fled the Senate to do so. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you. You may begin.
Thank you. My name is Andre Wagner. I'm also representing the Houston Black American Democrats. I come here as a resident of Congressional District 18. I've lived
The
in Congressional
sweat is
District 18
dripping
for over
onto my
20
eyelashes.
years. My mother lives in Congressional District 18. My sister lives in Congressional District 18. Please do not split up our district. Do not pack and crack us like we did in Beaumont. Beaumont, for over 30 years, was a solid Democratic seat that was represented by a wonderful member, built on communities of interest of Latinos and African Americans who voted together. But now Beaumont is split in half. But in Houston, there's too many of African Americans there, so instead you pack us in one district. Now, the only real thing I would ask is, instead of voting on making new lines, perhaps put a law in place requiring our governor to call an election after our congressional representative has died. I currently reside in Congressional District 18, and I have no congressional representative, and I have not had so for over 5 months. In Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, all Republican states, require their governor to have and hold a special election within either 60 or 100 days of a vacancy. All of them Republican states. Please, if you want to do something about elections, how about requiring our governor, like 4 other Republican states do, to have a special election when there's a vacancy that occurs? I am now without representation. You all are talking about effective representation, and my community does not have so because the governor has chosen not to call an election until November. That makes no sense.
Meowingstar, you would freak
And so
out
please,
if you
while
saw
we
a
are
moose.
talking about
They're
having effective
larger than I
representation,
can't
I think
even
right
imagine.
now
I
my
can't tell
family,
you.
my community
Like
is
a
disturbed
shed,
by what's going on
size
in
of a
Texas,
shed.
by what's going on in Congressional District 18. So please
I
implore
know, but
for
it's
my
on the
family
record,
and
Grace
yours
Lisa.
for better representation. Thank you.
Appreciate
It's
your
on the
testimony.
record.
Members, any questions? Senator Miles?
Thank you. Andre, let me say thank you for being here today, and thank you for the support your family's always given our community. Not just me, but our community. And I think your math's a little wrong. Brother Turner has passed for 5 months, but we've actually gone without representation in 18, almost a year now. Okay, it's been almost a year that we've gone without proper representation consistently in the 18th Congressional District. You should also know that based on this map that is being presented to us today, we are overpacked. They have taken Senate District 9, Congressional District 9, which was an African-American district belonging to Congressman Al Green, put 70%
Jane, look at you go.
of his district
Go,
into
girl.
the 18th Congressional District, which is already an African-American district, which now makes Senate District 13 the largest African-American, the only African-American, and the largest African-American senatorial district in the country, damn near. Do y'all understand that? So that's packing. That's heavy packing. But they've taken away one of our voices. We had where we had 2, we now only have 1. That's some serious packing. Thank you for your testimony today. And to the gentleman who first spoke, it's absolutely correct. They're not allowing constituents to choose their electeds. This is allowing electeds to choose their constituents. Okay? And that's where we're wrong. And as far as my colleagues in the House who are being
Jane,
chased
I
like
hear you.
runaway
I
slaves,
don't even have a good excuse
and the
when I
only
hear
pursuit
you.
they're trying to do is protect democracy, we have to stand with them, because that's all they're doing is trying to protect democracy, and they're being chased away and they're being entrapped
a good one,
like runaway
Teresa.
slaves. Thank you.
Senator King.
Oh,
That's
thank
an
you,
interesting
Chairman.
one. Texas millionaire rancher was killed by a buffalo in Africa Sunday. He was on a hunting trip,
I just
tracking
wanted
it down.
to respond
Carmen.
to what you said about District 11 and going from west Texas
Oh,
from
okay,
Midland actually
Carla.
goes from Ector County, which
Carla
is one county to the west.
It says hold my beer,
into
hold my
Travis
bath,
County. In the current map,
hold my breakfast
it
burrito.
goes from Ector County into Bell County.
I
And
don't
so
think
it's almost really the same footprint. It just, instead of picking up some additional
And
population
I guess
in
maybe
Bell,
he shouldn't have
it
had
dips
so
and it
many
picks some out of
sweet teas, and then he
Travis.
could have
So-
run a little
So
faster.
the distance from east to
That's
west
right.
in the current map is really the same as the distance from east to west.
Ease up on
in
the sweet tea, mister.
just wanted to
Then you
make-
can run a
point that
lot
out.
faster.
Do I have a chance to respond?
Certainly.
I just
Well,
find it hypocritical
at
that
chair's discretion, but I'm sure.
So, you talk about this thin line that goes down I-35, but in District 11, that thin line follows along the Williamson County and Travis County border. So it's the same thing, and then it balloons out into West Texas. It's a 5.5, 6-hour drive, and by saying that it already exists to some extent doesn't make it any better, especially when you're claiming that the 35th district.
Elephants
But you
never
understand in West
forget.
Texas, for you to be able to get 766,000 people together, you've got, so these numbers will be a little bit off, but I think they're still pretty close. So if you look at the I-35 corridor, even though you've got large cities like Amarillo, Lubbock, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, San Antonio, west of I-35, even though Abilene, even though you've got all those cities, still only about 14.5% of Texans live west of the I-35 corridor. And if you look at the East Texas, the I-45 corridor, only about 8.5% of Texans live east of that. Most of the population is in the triangle. So
I'm
if to
scared of like
comport
mountain
with
lions.
one
We have
person,
coyotes
one
around
vote,
here. I'm
which
scared
is
of
very
them too.
important, because if you live in a district that's got 100,000 people, and I live in one that's got
But
50,000 people,
I'm a
my vote's
pussy.
worth twice as much as yours. And that's why the most fundamental thing in redistricting in congressional districts is equal population. So if you're going to put together a district into West Texas that's got 766,000 people in it, you've got to come east. And you're going to have to pick up population out of Williamson or Bell or wherever it is. And so my only point was that you had said it was wrong to come all the way from Ector County to Travis County in a new map, and I was just simply saying that the footprint really hasn't changed. It's just going from Ector County into Bell County, which is just one county north of, or 2 counties north of Travis County. So it's still that same spread.
2 counties
but
north.
You just don't have any other way to
It's
draw
just
those
they're a
West
little
Texas
farther
districts
away.
and comply with
But you
the
know,
most fundamental
bear
purpose
to bear to bear.
of redistricting.
Okay, I can't listen to any more of this. Oh, holy moly, moly, moly. Well, needless to say, the Texas Senate is hell bent on making hay while the sun shines, so to speak. Aren't they the most dangerous? What do you mean? Which ones? I've come across wolves in the Upper Peninsula. We stared at each other for a bit. I said hello and went back to playing my singing bowl, and it walked off. Well, I mean, it knew that you were zen, that you were like just hanging out. Probably appreciated the sound bath. You know what I'm saying? No. Yeah, I think, well, and I think, you know, like actually it's funny because Bobo in walking the dog, as if anyone was here for that scenario, there's 3 different occasions in this year that, oh no, Grace Lisa, we got to talk about that. Anyway, Bobo encountered face to face a coyote here in East Hollywood. And of course, the poor coyote is just like thirsty or something. I mean, I'm sure it's just, you know, whatever. Anyway, and it didn't do anything. Although it did kill a dog down the street, a small dog that was out in the yard. The coyote did kill a dog because she didn't witness the actual killing, but just the immediate aftermath and seeing the coyote leave the scene of the crime. So, I mean, it definitely would do some damage, but probably just to small animals. Anyway, point is that I think it's interesting because I think maybe different animals have different experiences when it comes to encountering humans, and depending on where you are. I used to work at the zoo, and I have heard that hippos are notoriously like the greatest cause of death or something. The greatest cause of water death is hippos or something like that, something crazy. Hyenas seem like they would be pretty upset. Okay, so Grace Lisa, can you please tell me the story of a bear in your yard? Because you have to know one thing. My greatest fear in life is like a bear or a tiger on my porch. That is literally the nightmare that I have had throughout my 61 years of life. The recurring nightmare is a bear or a tiger for some reason on my porch. I am frozen at the thought of that. So you didn't know what to do. It freaked you out. Yeah, I would think so. I would think so. I saw a mountain lion in Napa area when I had my firstborn in a cute baby sling. The lion was pacing back and forth, looking right at us. I said, "Forget this." I got back in the car. Hell yeah. Yeah, coyotes eat lots of cats and small dogs in rural areas around here. They leave people alone, but our pets are a different matter. Yeah, I mean, they're just doing what coyotes do, right? It is what it is. I wouldn't put my dog outside, probably not for that reason, but now I won't. So a lot of estates came through. Let's see. It was up on a hill, small mountain, I guess. Yeah. Hippos can run 40 miles an hour. Oh, Jim, I didn't know that. When I was living and working in Africa, a woman was walking along the river and got between a mother hippo and her baby, and that was it. Oh, I once saw a badger eating tangerines in my front yard in Toluca Lake. That's the best sentence ever, Max. They're hideous. I didn't know that. Badgers? I would have thought they were cute. Maybe it's just otters that are cute. Our badger is cute. Badger, who's part of our family, is cute. But maybe it's just that. Are they like fisher cats? Those are fucking scary. Fisher cats will kill you. Up in Maine, fisher cats are no fucking joke. We live next to a park. We have huge herds of deer coyotes, and I've never seen it, just the footprints of a bear. Oh, a bear would scare me. European badgers are much cuter than American badgers for sure. Oh, well, there you go. And Canadian badgers, I bet, are the cutest. That was for our badger, who's from Canada. Yeah, that's funny. I checked all the fence lines, and oh my God, I am telling you, Grace Lisa, that would freak me the fuck out. I'm sorry, because I wouldn't remember what to do. Paxton says he's going to open an investigation into Beto for helping Dems leave the state. These guys, they're just like doing anything. You know what I'm saying? They're just doing anything. I know. Jane, would you save me, please? Because it's a premonition. And I want to move out to the country. I don't know. Maybe I'm not built for the country. The emoji is cute. The badger emoji is cute. And otters are adorable. Oh my God. I could watch videos of otters forever. We have black bears. They just run away if you stand still and talk casually to them. Oh, that's good. That's good. I mean, hey man, live and let live. We're in their territory as far as I'm concerned. I just don't want to get eaten. That's all, We have badgers, otters, and pine martens. Oh, I haven't heard pine martens in a while. What about honey badgers? Oh yeah, honey badgers are mean. But yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to look up fisher cats. Okay? You got to look up fisher cats. Because those motherfuckers, they don't play. I saw my first coyote in my aunt's driveway near Hollywood, and we just stared at each other. But then I saw coyotes in Connecticut, and holy shit, huge. Really, SB? Oh, see, I didn't see the coyote that is in our neighborhood. Bobo's been the only one to see it from between us. And so I don't know. I mean, she said it would look like a big German Shepherd. So, what's the over under on time to trials for crimes that don't exist in law? Yeah, exactly. That's my brother-in-law's nickname for their feisty yet cute daughter. Oh, little honey badger. That's cute. Oh, it's time to clean the yard. They aren't common, though. I've encountered like 2 or 3 in my life. Yeah. I wouldn't think so. Depending on where you live, I wouldn't think so. Geese are mean motherfuckers. Yeah, geese, swans. Oh, don't fuck with swans. Do not fuck with swans. I know, Trump is targeting Los Angeles again. Yeah. I haven't yet seen a bear, wolf, or eagle in my travels. I wouldn't want, and that's surprising, Val. That's surprising that you haven't seen more wildlife in the time that you've been on the road. That's interesting. Have you seen the famous honey badger video? Honey badger don't play. Honey badgers are way too clever. Yep. I haven't. Drop it on the cord like it's hot. The Russians have geese like pit bulls in New Jersey. Are you kidding me, butterflies? Really? Really? You've seen moose. Moose are huge. Moose are big as a small house. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating. Okay, like a shed. Not an eagle. I want to fly like an eagle through the trees. Makes me sad. You will see one day, Val, I know. Honey badger don't give a shit. That's what it is. Thank you. Honey badger don't give a shit. Look up. Look up. Hey, if you haven't seen an eagle yet, just look up. Just look up. Cobra chickens. What about cobra? Oh, wait. What's a cobra chicken? Wait, is there a cobra chicken? Oh, you mean geese? Are geese cobra chickens? They do? That's true? I have never heard of the Russian geese. That is hilarious. All you need is a jacket or a mule to get rid of coyotes. Oh, what does that mean? Swans get territorial. I know. I've heard they're super mean. Canadian geese, really aggressive. Canadian invasion every year. Hi, Oren. How are you, sweetie? I'm definitely a bird watcher. Oh, yeah, totally. Canada geese are cobra chickens. No other goose need apply. I love that. Cobra chicken. Oh, a jackass. Oh, okay. Or I'm like, Jackie, all you need is a jacket? Wow. Nope, you need a jackass. Or you made it first. Yay! Oh, I'm glad, Oren. You're such a sweetheart. You're missed. You are missed. All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it for today. We're coming up on 4 hours. I've taken so much of your time. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for spending so much time. Thank you for all the links and things that people gave me. Again, yet another beautifully crowdsourced show. So thank you all so much for coming. I adore you, of course, anytime. And let's see. Tomorrow is Friday. We're gonna have Puff Puff Pass. I don't think Lee has time tomorrow necessarily to talk, but don't worry, we're going to figure out the Lee show and we're going to figure out the Gal show. All right. So watch your programming notes for those shows, because we're going to do those probably whenever it makes sense for those ladies. And then tomorrow night is movie night, and I don't know. I think we might be doing Terminator 2, but I could be wrong about that. I think Terminator 2 is my favorite Terminator movie, so maybe that's why I'm leaning that way. But if you have a movie suggestion, you can drop it in the Discord, and that would be great. I love you guys so much. Thank you so, so much for spending time. I hope the rest of your Thursday, A Quiet Place to Kill. Okay, good. A Quiet Place to Kill. Did we not watch that already? Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. Oh, really good, Meowingstar, because I really like Terminator 2. That's when they go after Skynet. So I want to see if that's a documentary too. Okay. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being you, and thanks for being here. It really makes all the difference to the world. So thanks. You make everything so much better. Oh, that's right. There was a snafu. Okay. All right. Hello.